Misfit Toys. Celebrate Mom for Mother's Day with help from Whole Foods Market. Whether you're treating her to brunch, dinner, or a nice gift, you'll find it all in one place. From May 10th through 16th, 15-stem bunches of tulips are on sale, just $9.99 for Amazon Prime members. Plus, shop 365 by Whole Foods Market for brunch staples on a budget, including smoked salmon, the mini quiche trio, and more. For dessert, pick up a heart-shaped cake from the bakery. Only the best from Mom at Whole Foods Market. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What if comparing car insurance rates was as easy as putting on your favorite podcast? With Progressive, it is. Just visit the Progressive website to quote with all the coverages you want. You'll see Progressive's direct rate. Then their tool will provide options from other companies so you can compare. All you need to do is choose the rate and coverage you like. Quote today at Progressive.com to join the over 29 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Aptitude, expertise, genius, gift.
I'm the fucking talent.
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy podcast. Who's out there, everybody? How you doing? How is everyone? Everybody's out there? That seems like a lot of people. That doesn't seem possible. You know what? I'm going to say not everybody's out there. What am I, a guy on a balcony in Germany giving a speech? Why Germany? What the hell happened to me? Hold on. That's not a good thing to start the show with. Look at me. I'm leading a rabid crowd from a balcony in Germany, doing terrible things. Perhaps I'll go to Italy and I'll cross my arms and give you the El Duce look. I could have gone Pope, I guess. He also does the balcony thing where he talks to a bunch of people, although he really doesn't do that anymore, does he? Do they still do that on Sundays? At St. Basilica, is that what it's called? At the cathedral? Maybe they go to Manchester Cathedral or Winchester. It's Winchester Cathedral. You ever heard that song? I don't know why my brain went to Germany. Well, I know why it did, because again, it's hard to have the images of German rallies on a balcony with gigantic crowds leave your brain. I guess I could have gone Pope, but like I said, I don't recall the Pope doing one in a really long time. You know, because the Pope used to be a dude. Like the Pope was somebody that people cared about. The Pope was like a guy, right? They had a Pope and a president and a queen. But now the Queen is dead. Long live the Queen. Or the king, I suppose we should say. Although there's a queen now, too. Camilla? What the fuck? Why is she backdooring in? You know, Charles gets the job with his fucking scepters and his huge fucking sausage cock fingers. Good for him. He waited long enough and he's got sepsis or whatever the fuck he has in his hands. You ever see his hands? I'm not even kidding. Google Prince Charles fingers. And holy fuckaroni. It is ridiculous. The guy's got a handful of cocks. It's crazy. He looks like the people in Everything Everywhere All at Once, Jamie Lee Curtis and our friend who won the Oscar. It looks like the two of them with their crazy hands. That's what Prince Charles is sporting these days. And I don't know what it is. It's years of inbreeding. I don't know what the fucks up your hands like that. Because look, I have, I'm not going to lie to you. I have gorgeous hands. I think I have very attractive hands. I can palm a basketball. You know, I've often thought about being a hand model, but unfortunately I took a chunk out of my hand with a meat slicer once. Not on purpose. Sounds like I did. The way I presented that, it sounded like it was on purpose. You know, one time when I was hanging out with my friends, Bam Margera and Rab himself, we got the old meat slicer going, and oh boy, what an afternoon we had. But yeah, so now Prince Charles is now King Charles, and then Queen Camilla is there. And I gotta ask this: like, I thought crowns were red. I know this sounds fucking weird. Do they get to pick their own colors? Like, is it that, or like a high school football team or something? Because they wore black crowns. And look, I don't believe in any of this shit and fucking baking crows in a pie, whatever the fuck. Whatever you got to do to be the king or the queen or whomever. But black crown seems ominous, doesn't it? It seems wrong. I don't think the queen ever wore a black crown. Please send me photos. I know somebody out there has queen photos that I'm going to be besieged with. Here's the queen wearing an ebony crown. But I don't know. It just looked weird. Like they didn't have king and queen colors. I guess they kind of matched. And I mean, they should match because they're all fucking weird, right? Because Prince Charles wanted to be her tampon once. You know that story? Google that fucking story. Because he was fucking banging her while he was still married to Princess Di, I believe so. And he's married to a fucking hot chick. And he starts railing Camilla. And Camilla could just be, she might be a fucking demon in the sack. Who the fuck knows? And Princess Di could have been a demon in the sack, but she could be like, fuck this. I'm not going to bang this jug-head-eared motherfucker. I'm moving on to Dodi Fayed in a really fast car. You've got a fast car. I hope there's not a princess in it because we might crash. So I don't know why I put myself in the German balcony, and I could have put myself in the Queen's coronation or the King's coronation or whatever the fuck. But also the Pope, who again, as I've mentioned, used to be a guy. I don't even know the Pope's name. I know that's fucking weird. Because did they just name a Pope, or wasn't a Pope going to fucking retire? I don't know. Look, I'm going to give some advice. If you're a cardinal and you're listening to this, or several cardinals, or if you're cardinal adjacent, take this advice and run with it. Tell these guys to stop voting for old fucks. That's the same problem we have in this country. We've got a Dianne Feinstein showing up at fucking Congress in a wheelchair, looking like fucking Mason Verger from Silence of the Lambs or Red Dragon, whatever the fuck. They're half of her face fucking falling off of her head. Looks like she got it's like she has Bell's palsy of everything, of the body, the fucking head, everything. The whole thing is just slumped. She has lazy skin. When you get to be 97 or whatever the fuck, you get lazy skin. Your skin's been doing the job forever. Feinstein, they got to put her brain in a jar at this fucking point. I might have talked about this with Lily. I apologize if I'm repeating myself. If you'll hear it later with me and Lily talking, I'm just so disgusted by what's happening in this world today. But I don't even know the fucking Pope's name. But quit voting for old dudes. That's why they got to keep fucking changing the Pope out every couple of years. Like it's like me with cars. They got fucking new popes. These ancient fucking dudes, they keep voting for these. I guess when you put in as much cardinal time as possible, then you get to be bumped up to pope. They're not going to vote for a fucking young guy for pope. They should, though. What if they should vote for like a pope with like spats? And he's another one with a fucking weird hat. What the fuck? These people with the dumb hats. You know what? I go the other way. Bullshit. I'm not mad at the Pope for his hat or the king and queen for their black crowns. I think our president needs to wear a dumb hat. Wouldn't that be great? Like some kind of Bula Order of the Water Buffaloes fucking helmet. That'd be sweet as fuck. That'd be somebody to root for. That's worth voting. What if we voted solely on the hats? What if there was no debates? These guys just walked the runway with assorted hats, and we chose the guy with the best hat to run the country. Because I got to be honest with you, it's not going to be any worse than how we've done in the past, right? I don't think, you know what? No hat's going to lead us to go to war. Two tribes may lead us to go to war. Two hats may lead us to go to war. When two hats go to war. All right. So I don't even know the Pope's name. I could have said a Pope, but I don't know if they do that gathering anymore at St. Peter's Basilica. That's what it is, right? That's the full name. I don't want a short shrift the Basilica. God forbid I wind up on a list somewhere because I short shrifted the Basilica. But yeah, it's like Pope fucking Rick. I don't even know. Sam, Roger. No, it's always like some dumb fucking name like Pope, Jesus Hand or Pope Pius or some shit. And I don't know who these fucking guys are. And what do they do anymore? Do they have any fucking stroke? Because, it used to be truly that like fucking our presidents and stuff had to look for approval from the Pope for Catholic voters or whatever. And then that all went out the fucking window in 2016 when Fuckneck showed up and he was like, I think he met the Pope and probably, he probably shook his hand. He pointed at his chest. The Pope looked down and he flipped his nose because he doesn't fucking care about anything or anyone. And honestly, I don't give a fuck. Disrespect the Pope all you want because the Pope has got so much money and so much cash and so many gold slippers. Is this new Pope the one that has kind of the red slippers, the red shoes? I know the angels want to wear his red shoes, but unfortunately the Pope got him first. Let's update you fine folks. Last week, first of all, I should tell you this. I'm not going to talk long. We have a whole chunk of audio with me and Lily that I'll share with you when I'm finished. And I'll be finished soon because what's the point? Why am I shoehorning two shows in your gullet, in your ear holes? It doesn't make any sense. Plus, I'm fighting off yawns, as you can hear. I don't know what's wrong with me. My sleep schedule is all kinds of fucked. Yesterday, I went to bed at fucking 11:15 a.m. and because I had fallen asleep from 8 until 12:30 at night. And then I was like, well, I'll be fine. And then it was 11:15, and I'm like, I should probably go to bed. As you know, you want to talk about lazy skin. I look like Dianne Feinstein. My eyes are drooping. My fucking cheeks are on the ground. But then I only got 4 hours of sleep. And now here we are as I yawn into the microphone and I torture you. You know, a professional person, not to say I'm not a professional person. I'm certainly a professional broadcaster as far as talking into a microphone. I've got that down pat. Me with my face right in front of a microphone and talking into it so it gets recorded into some sort of implement or laptop. I have those steps down, but it's the get enough rest so you stop yawning in people's ears kind of bullshit that I got to fucking work on. Because dudes, I was just reading, there was a famous DJ in LA who died this week. She used to be on KMAT a million years ago. And it made me think of like when DJs, there was a guy named Jim Ladd here when they would explore music and talk about it. Cause I told you I was a prisoner last week or 2 weeks ago, or whatever the fuck, in a satellite radioless existence where I had to listen to fucking terrestrial radio, and everybody's making up jokes and laughing and fucking guffawing at everything, and you're just like, my God, is there anyone who just is normal, who could just? And then I will tell you this: there was a beacon in the night, but unfortunately I found it during the day. I took my brother to the airport super early last week sometime, and I had that terrestrial radio thing working on. This is 2 weeks ago, and as I'm driving, all of a sudden, as I'm flipping trying to find a station, and my station disappeared. It was like 97.1, okay, that I was listening to here in LA. And then it kind of got fuzzy, and I'm like, why? And then all of a sudden, a whole new station showed up. And it sounded like a dude in his basement. And I'm like, wait, am I getting hijacked here? Like, what's happening? Have aliens landed? Is this a shortwave jammer? But then I listened, and the guy, first of all, he played super interesting music. He played some fucking kind of I don't even like La Raza music, but not like like rock, but not rock in Espanol. And it was kind of like I would almost call it like 70s Mexican surf music. It was fucking awesome. I mean, there were 3 songs. I Shazammed 2 of them, and then the third one that I really liked wouldn't Shazam. I'm like, God damn it! And I'm also going fucking 65 miles an hour on the goddamn freeway at 8 in the morning. But I was trying to figure out what the fuck it was. So the guy kept saying like KTPC, low wattage radio or something, or low power radio in Venice. And I'm like, is this real? I didn't know if it was a real deal or thing. So I kept trying to remember it. And then I got home and I Googled it. It's a real thing. Like for some reason, the FCC gives out low wattage. It started a few years ago. They gave out low wattage licenses to neighborhoods that they deem important, because it gives you like neighborhood and minority representation on radio, and avoiding like kind of big, because the radios have just been consolidated now, the radio stations and shit like that. Everywhere you go, there's an iHeartRadio fucking station playing the same shit over and over in your face. And even here, there's rock music stations. Like I said, I heard When Doves Cry 7 times, whatever the fuck. But this dude was playing awesome, interesting music. But the thing is, when I Googled it and I read the story about it, you can only catch it in this 3-mile radius near Venice, and you can only catch it at certain times of the day. They don't tell you when they're going to, be on the air. Like, it just shows up. And so I was mad because I wanted to see the playlists. I wanted to hear it. And then I thought, well, maybe I can listen to it on my laptop, or, because sometimes, Apple used to have old school radio stations you could just fucking hear. And the guy running it was just like, nah, we don't go online. Like, because the whole point of it is to be a radio station. Otherwise we're just streaming, and then that's not unique. And so they just do this. And the thing is, they invite anybody to record a show. Like, anyone can record a show, put together a playlist and record a bunch of music and their drops and everything, and just turn it over to them, and they might play it or they might not, but they're not going to tell you when. And that's the deal, is you've got to listen, because you might catch yourself 6 weeks later, or you might catch yourself 6 minutes later. Who the fuck knows? They make their own decisions. It's pretty sweet. I love the whole concept of it. You know what I mean? Just this radio station that only operates in Venice with only like a 3 or 4 mile radius, and you have to be able to catch it whenever you can catch it. So you leave your radio station tuned out. And also, there's a 97.1, like a big station here. And for it to take over that little block of FM radio, whatever the fuck, property, whatever you want to call it, and just fucking fill the void, I thought it was sweet as hell. But unfortunately, I'm not in Venice nearly enough, so I can't go ahead and throw it on. But you know what? This is, you'll laugh. It sounded like getting high in your house with your friends. That's what it was. Just a dude who was real laid back, and he wasn't trying. You know what I mean? He wasn't pushing it. He was just talking, and he didn't like back tag anything. He didn't say what time it was or all that, because obviously, clearly, it's pre-recorded. And he would just say, "Yeah, you know, KTPC Venice, low watt radio. You know, here's, you know," and he would talk. You know, he'd just say something silly or whatever. He'd just kind of talk, and then he'd say, "Okay, here's something else," and then he'd play another song. And it reminded me of, you know, I used to live near San Clemente with Lenny. We lived near the beach. Or you'd just go hang out at somebody's place, and you'd just play music and talk. That's what it sounded like just kind of cooling out with your friends. It reminded me when I lived in Orange County, when I first moved here. It felt like rediscovering California, and I really enjoyed it. And of course, I can't find it online, and I'll never be in Venice again. But when I do, believe me, I'll be tuning my radio to 97.1. And I know you're thinking to yourself, well, what about your new radio? What are you doing there? Well, here's the update on the car. Last week, I think I told you guys that I was driving around at a loaner, and then they said they analyzed my car at CarMax, and they go, "Hey man, there's no leaks in your car." And I said, "What?" And they said, "Yeah, no leaks." So I said, "Great." I was undecided whether or not I was going to go back to my mechanic and go, "Dude, you know, you got to give me the go ahead here." But finally, I decided it was better safe than sorry. And so I made an appointment to see my mechanic, and I saw him this week. And I told him what they said. I said, "Look, you know, I didn't do it in an accusing way, but I said, hey, they said there's no leaks, man. They said they looked at everything. They ran the diagnostics and whatever the fuck, and there's no leaks." And he said, "All right, well, we'll take a look at it." And he, again, the same deal where he comes in and he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I don't, he goes, I think there was a leak." He goes, I don't know what to see now, but it's hard for me to see anything. Come over here." And I go over and he goes, "You see right here, look at the engine." And I go, "Yeah, that's where the oil was last time." He goes, "Yeah, you can see it's gone." He goes, "I don't know if they washed it down or what they did." He goes, "But I can't tell you if there's a leak or not, because also look here." And there's crusted black. Like it looks like, you know, charcoal almost, like real. And he goes, "That's oil." He goes, "So maybe there was an oil leak before you bought the car, and then they fixed it before they sold it, and I was seeing residual oil from that previous leak." He said, "But yeah, it doesn't look like the radiator, you know, they cleaned it all up and everything's clean here. They cleaned it all off, but with that crust there, with those oil deposits, that means there still could be a leak, but I can't tell anything until you drive the car." I said, "What does that mean?" And he goes, "Well, you got to drive it. You got to put a couple hundred miles on it and then make an appointment and come back." But the thing is, I just want the fucking thing. I just want a clean bill of health, man. I just want it fucking fixed. I don't want to worry about that shit. And look, if I don't have to pay the guy another $160, I don't want to fucking do that either. And so I got annoyed. I won't lie. I didn't get annoyed to him, but in my brain I was annoyed because I'm like, dude, you're the mechanic. I mean, just tell me, is it's leaking or not? And he's like, "Well, I can't tell if you're not, you know, you got to drive it." I said, "Well, I've driven it like 30 miles. He goes, "Yeah, you got to drive it like a couple hundred miles so we can kind of see what it does under duress or regular, you know, driving conditions." And I'm like, fuck. So the bottom line is I have my car, you know, the Camry hybrid, and I've been driving it, and I guess I'll go back in a week and see what he has to fucking say. But, you know, I'll look under the hood myself and see if I see anything. He even said, he's like, "If you start seeing any oil on the engine or you see any oil under your car, then yeah, bring it in right away." He goes, "But otherwise, just do a couple hundred miles and then bring it in," which just seems like, you know me, Schmitty life. There's always something going down. I'm going to go out driving and a fire will burst out because there'll be oil deposits on the engine that didn't get scraped off, and then new oil will cover those, and then a fucking ignition happens, and then I got to pull over with smoke and flames and no future, and fuck me. That's all I need is the fucking pop the hood and the Kiss shows going on underneath my fucking hood. So who knows? Right now, though, I got my car, and that makes me happy. I was out the other day. It was funny. I was driving because, again, I got to put miles on the car. I know you're like, "Did you have anywhere to go?" I did not. Clearly, I didn't. No, I was running I got groceries, whatever the fuck. It was the same day I went to the mechanic. So I was driving home. And look, I won't lie. What was I doing? I was going to several different grocery stores and 7-Elevens trying to locate mustard Doritos. Yes, I know. Terrible thing. Just jumping off a cliff into a quarry and land head first because you're just dying at that point. But they've released ketchup and mustard Doritos back into the wild, and I loved the mustard Doritos. Have I had any luck in finding them yet? I have not. And I've been to 5 different Ralphs and like 4 different 7-Elevens, and every time I stop, there's nothing. They had the ketchups at one, I did not grab them because, again, I'm a mustard man. No, I didn't mind the ketchup ones. I loved the ketchup Doritos in Canada, but the ketchup Doritos in America, they made them tangier. And that's fine. I don't mind a tangier taste on my tongue and my taste buds. It's a lot of T's. But I preferred the one in that had like a corn ketchup taste, and I mowed through those motherfuckers like I was driving through, pedestrians. I mean, I just well, that's a weird analogy, but I just ate the shit out of them. So I didn't grab any of the new ones. Maybe I'll try a bag. But my whole goal is to find the mustard ones, because, man, if you haven't had them, because this is my worry. I had the mustard Doritos when they released as a limited time, and it said hot mustard, or spicy mustard, it said on the bag. And I was like, I'll give them a chance because I try all the new flavors. And it wasn't spicy. Like, it was just it had a bit of a wasabi note. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like hot mustard, but it was just very faint. And it just tasted more like mustard powder with a little fucking zip. And dude, they were so good. I brought them to poker. And everybody's like, these sound horrible. And then the whole bag was gone. My friends couldn't stop eating them. They're like, these are amazing. I'm like, yep. And these are guys who don't eat fucking chips. Because I always bring weird chips and I have to make them eat them. They fucking plowed through the fucking mustard Doritos like a car through pedestrians. That's going to be my go-to from now on. Because I just saw a video of that, unfortunately. A lot of great videos flying around on the internet this week. I don't know if you saw them. They're all really good. There's a terrific one where the guy driving through pedestrians, I don't know if I've mentioned it or alluded to it earlier in this show, but holy macaroni, if you can tune into that, go ahead and pull it up, because that'll make you never want to sit down on a bench ever again in your entire life. Just poor dudes. And look, I know the bus is bad. You know that I know the bus is bad. The bus is terrible. And just sitting there waiting for the bus is such a fucking bite in the ass, where you're like, I can't believe I gotta get on this fucking mode of transportation that's going to take me nowhere fast and everywhere slow. But then if you're sitting there waiting for the bus and a guy plows through you, you're just like, I died waiting for a bus. What a fucking... Although, it kept you from having to get on the bus. Really, when you think about it that way, you can kind of reflect on it and be like, that's cool. Kept me from getting on the bus. That makes me happy. I shouldn't joke, because it's an awful video when you see it. And again, as always, when you see these videos, they just happen. And in your brain, you because you've seen movies or you've seen these things. I told you, I saw a guy get a chainsaw in the face. I've seen terrible, terrible things on the internet. So you know what? You see a guy drive a van through fucking 20 people, and you're just like, yeah, that's fucking awful. And then you see a guy, pull out a gun at a mall again. Whatever the fuck. What a mess. Everything's at a downward slope, and we're all rolling forward. The snowball keeps getting bigger. We're right there in the center of it. So I'm on the hunt for mustard Doritos. Again, have not found them. But I was driving on a road called Moore Park by my house. And I came, they're pedestrians, all right? And pedestrians have the right of way. But like when I'm a pedestrian, all right, if I'm in the middle, if I cross against the light, or I'm, if I'm jaywalking, basically, let's put it that way, if that's even a fucking term or a crime anymore, I will wait for you. I have no interest in you stopping. I want to stand there until all of the cars are gone, and then I will safely walk across the street. When you see a guy like on an island in the middle of, 4-lane traffic or 2-lane traffic, and he keeps trying to kind of like step out because he keeps waiting for people to stop. It's like, dude, don't do that. You're the one in the wrong here. You're in the middle of the fucking road. Let cars go by. And I know this is me at my most grandpa. I totally get it. But that's how I handle myself as a pedestrian. When I'm driving, I will always stop to let the guys through if there's, a ton of traffic. But if there's no traffic, I will just breeze through, because again, if there's nobody behind me, I'm going to be the last car. It's a pain in the ass to make somebody stop for you, is what I'm saying. And you know what? My mouth get ahead of my brain there. I don't stop when there's traffic coming. In my opinion, the cars should have the right of way, and the guy should stand there until the cars are gone. Yeah, what am I thinking? Again, folks, I'm yawning. My brain has fucking Swiss cheese holes in it. So, but this guy, because I don't know why. Because you know why? Because I was on Moore Park, and I was hunting around for fucking Doritos, and in my new car, I'm being super cautious, where I don't turn. I don't want anybody to jump in front of me. I don't turn until everybody's gone. This car instantly made me 75 years old. I'm 2 hands on the wheel, at least for now, anyway, at least until I get it figured out. So I stopped. I stopped for this dude. And I should tell you, this dude looked like, we used to call them Hessians here in LA, like Hispanic metal fans. So he had hair down to his back, down to his waist, curly black, Fu Manchu mustache, camouflage, 3/4 pants, like the ones that just go past your knee. I don't know, cargo pants, is that what they're called? And black t-shirt. It's the uniform. I mean, it's the uniform of mosh pits everywhere. It's what you need to gain access into a spinning circle where you slam your body into other people. It's just, that was who the dude was. Now, when I was driving, I had my windows open and I was listening to, there's a song by Sublime called The Wrong Way, if you know that song. The Wrong Way. And it's a, I don't want you to come after me if you're a ska fan, because there are people like, Sublime isn't ska, whatever. Fuck, I don't know. So I think it's ska. It's toy ska, I guess I would call it. It's like Green Day is toy punk. You know what I mean? I don't want some Misfits fan to try to start a fight with me because I called Green Day a punk band, whatever the fuck. So this is, Sublime is training wheel ska, I guess I'd call it. But it still goes, you know. Want to shoot your dad the wrong way. It's a fucking, you know the song, what I'm talking about. I know the words, for some reason I can't pull them. You know why? Because again, fucking yawning like a dummy. So I stopped the car to let this guy cross, and this Hessian, this is now my favorite person in the world and one of my favorite things I've ever seen happen ever. He stops in the, he's standing there in the middle of the street, and I slow down and I stop, and he waves me to go. And I smile at him, and I'm just like, no, it's cool, dude. And he kind of looks at me, and he gets this face, almost like all right, you asked for this. And he proceeds to skank his way across the street. If you don't know what skanking is, if you have to Google it, it's the ska dance. You know what I mean? Where it's basically your fists are clenched and you're kind of, here's how I will describe it partially. If you ever saw 16 Candles, there's a great scene where Long Duck Dong is dancing with Joan Cusack, and they're leaning backwards and then leaning forwards. That's always what I think of when I think of ska, along with like the Specials and shit like that. But it's this weird, you bow at the waist, you come back and you tip your waist back and you bow at the waist. But that's if you're just standing in place. But this dude had like a leg movement going too. He he was doing it to the Sublime song. You know what I mean? And he just he did this weird this dance. And he did it in a circuitous, like he didn't go right across the street. Like he made a crazy leg walk and a crazy leg fucking bowing at the way. It was beautiful. I just laughed. I sat there fucking laughing. It was so great. Cause like, I don't know if he was trying to like make me mad or sad, or if this is just, he was just like, you know what, man, fuck this. I love life and this is what I'm going to do. Cause he even made it look at me like he waved me to go. And I said, no, we're good. And he just kind of raised his eyebrows like, all right, buddy. And he just fucking skanked across the street. And by this time now 2 cars stopped behind me and they're just like, what the fuck is happening? Cause nobody even honked, cause he just it was showtime, man. He decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. And cause it wasn't even like he didn't cross 2 lanes of traffic. He just had to cross 1. But it took him a good 15 seconds because the crazy leg, the bowing at the waist, the leaning back, the leaning forward. It was fucking beautiful. And I just, again, like I said, I literally just fucking howled laughing. And then he got to the end of he got across the street finally, and then just became a person again. He stopped skanking, and I just honked the horn. I'm just like, gave him the thumbs up and drove off. See, cause that's the kind of dumb shit that I love. Dumb shit I do or used to do a lot. It was just life being lived. God damn, I loved it. It was so great. So, and again, total Hessian with the fucking black hair down to his waist and the Fu Manchu with the fucking goatee and it was gorgeous. Then the Doc Martens, and it was beautiful. All right. It was pretty great. I'll tell you this. I did, stand up last week. I was going to tell Lily about this and I fucking spaced when we were talking. I think I told you guys I was going to be at the Universal Bar and Grill. My brother puts on a show, once a month, maybe. He's trying to do it once a month. It's whenever he's in town. So I had to pick him up at the airport, and he he was supposed to be in that morning at 11, and then he changed it. He was coming in at 3, and then he was coming in at 5:30. Then he bought a plane ticket to get in at 2, and whatever the fuck. But again, that didn't help my sleep schedule. So I picked him up, and he's like, all right, see you tonight. I said, great. Do you have a running order yet? He's like, yeah, I sent it out to the Facebook thing. I said, good. So he split. I look at the Facebook thing. I don't have a running order. I'm not even on the fucking mail chain anymore. I don't know what the fuck happened. What I think happened is fucking Zuckerberg did a thing where you can't send a bunch of emails to like 30 people, and that's how many people are on the fucking mailing list. So I looked at it and I texted him. I said, hey, I don't see an email or, here. And I said, but I'm seeing the poster, the flyer. And if this is the running order, you can feel free to put me later in the show. Cause he had me going up like 6th of 20. And that's very kind of him because, it's a way to, you want to go up earlier usually, but having not been doing stand-up regularly, I don't mind going up later because it gives me the feel for the room a little bit and it lets me kind of figure out what I'm going to talk about. And also, I get the vibe of the room a little bit so I can deal with, sometimes I'll reference something that has happened already. You know this, I don't have an opening bid. So I don't want to go right up. You know what I mean? And especially in this bar, because it's funny, the first show we did there, it was great. There was probably 20 to 25 people. It doesn't sound like a lot, but for a bar show, it's fucking great. There were 20 to 25 people who came to watch comedy. They knew Lenny from the Boats. They knew some other comics. It was great. We had a crowd. And the room is deep. I should tell you, the stage is in the front, and then there's the seats and then the bar, right in front, in front of the stage. And then the room goes back deep, and there's pool tables in the back. So the night we first did it, like I said, everybody was there for comedy. It was sweet. So I didn't do the second one. And Lenny was like, oh, it was fucking terrible. We had a heckler all night. I said, people heckled all night? He goes, no, we had one guy. And he took it upon himself to heckle everybody. Like that was his deal. He heckled every single comic. And he goes, here's the thing. If you don't know, as a comic, the worst kind of heckler is a guy who just won't shut the fuck up. You can bury him. I mean, you could absolutely throw shovels of dirt on him and build a headstone and fucking leave him for fucking dead in a hole. And he just still doesn't stop because he's so dumb and so dead set on fucking with you that he refuses. He's not fazed by the punches. He's just going to keep coming forward. You're eviscerating him and he just won't stop. It is my least favorite. And I think probably every comic's least favorite heckler. Other than a drunk woman. Drunk women are tough for guys. Women can handle, but I mean, a drunk woman, the second, because you can't be like, hey, you bitch, or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? You have to kid glove it as much as you possibly can. But when a heckler just won't fucking stop, and then Lenny said he stayed the whole night. Lenny had fucking, he always puts up like 20 people, and he said the guy was on everybody. Like he wouldn't fucking stop. And Lenny would go up in between comics and go, what are you doing? Like, fucking give people a break or whatever. And then the next comic come up and the guy would start. So I was kind of glad I didn't make that one because to me, and again, this is going to sound dumb, but it's not going to sound dumb. It's true. I told you the one thing I have to keep working on, I have a ton of material. I have to get chops. I have to be back on stage in front of crowds and shit like that. And you got to make it your own. You got to learn how to perform again. It's just fucking baby steps. And to get up on a stage and then have a guy heckling you, even if it's just a 10-minute set, you're just like, this is useless. Even though that's the lessons I should be learning. But part of me is just like, I don't want to deal with this fucking guy. I know it's ridiculous. Don't make fun of me. So this time, bar shows always provide this unique set of circumstances. So the first one was a good show. The second one, the heckler. Third show, I walk in. And I should tell you, Lenny never texted me back about putting me later in the order. So I got there about, shows at 8. So I get there at 8 o'clock and, someone's on stage already. And I go up to Lenny, I go, hey, and he goes, hey, and I go, show started at 8? And he goes, no, it started at 7. I go, oh, fuck, dude. I go, I'm so sorry. I thought the show was at 8 o'clock. He goes, that's fine. He goes, you're next. I go, wait a minute. Didn't you get my text? He goes, what text? I go, I sent you a text so you can put me on later in the show, as late as you want. And he goes, yeah, no, it's fine. It works out this way. We'll put you up. And I was like, Len, I can't go right now. I go, give me a couple of guys or something. He goes, okay, yeah, we'll do that. I'll go put up Rich. And he put up our friend Rich Brown, who was there. And I should tell you, Rick Overton had already gone up. Jan Karam had already gone up. because Lenny's getting like names to the show. Jimmy Dore was supposed to do this fucking show, and he wound up he no-showed it. But Felicia Michaels had confirmed, and Jan Karam, and these names, by the way, they may mean nothing to you. Felicia Michaels used to do a podcast with Joey Diaz, and now she books a few shows here in town at the Comedy Store. She's terrific. She's just a really cool person. Jan Karam, comedian, actress. She was on Seinfeld. She played his girlfriend in one of, I think she was the breathing girlfriend. I don't know. I could be wrong because it's been a million years since I saw it. But she had a very memorable part on Seinfeld. And now she does stand up all over town. Still, I shouldn't say now. She was doing, dude, she did a fucking HBO Young Comedian special in fucking 1993. So, I mean, she's been doing stand up quite a while. Rick Overton is just a fucking improv genius. And he was there. Whatever. So Lenny's getting, Joe Bartnick was there, a lot of name guys who work. So I was like, Len, do me a favor, just let me go up in a couple. So he threw up Rich, and then he put up this guy Joe Restivo. There was Joe Restivo and Joe Restiva, possibly. Is that a true thing? I don't know. One of them has a handlebar mustache and was very lovely and nice, and the other one was on stage. I'll say that. And then there was another guy named Bill, and there was a guy named John from Chicago. But then after the two Johns went, Lenny's like, "You're going to be next." And I'm like, dude. And he goes, "What do you want me to do?" He goes, I honestly, he goes, there aren't anybody, there's nobody else here. They're getting here late. They had other sets in town. I was like, all right. He goes, "You know what? I'll put Keith up and then we'll put you up." So our buddy Keith Dion went up, and he's like, "All right, man, you're after Keith." I said, "Great." And I was, like I said, I was just kind of, I'm not scared, but you're just kind of like, I want to do good. You know me. I want to be great. I want to go up and do fine, and I want to make. And also, these are the things he said. It's a workout room. You're there to do workout material. So it's not like I wasn't going to repeat anything from the last time I was there because I wanted. You want to try and work out new bits. So, Keith finishes. Lenny goes up on stage to MC, and he's on stage, and he's like, and his introduction for me was, this next guy, I used to wake him up in the morning by punching him in the calves repeatedly until he got out of bed, which is a completely true story, and I think I've told it on here. And he's like, "Please welcome Mike Schmidt." And I go to the stage, and the stage, I should tell you, is it's usually a band stage, so there's a riser, and it's about 2 feet off the ground. You know what I mean? I would say. So you got to step up onto it. There's no stairs. You just got to step up onto the stage. So he's at the microphone. I walk up, and I step on the stage, and I go to stand up. And folks, let me explain something. I've worn a size 13 shoe for a long time, but I also sometimes wear a size 14 shoe. Okay. I just, sometimes if I see something that I like and they're out of 13s, I'll buy a 14 because either one of them work for me. It's fine. But the issue is, and this has happened before, it happens quite a bit, actually. I don't know if it's the muscle memory in my head or if my body isn't used to the extra clearance. I don't know. But when I'm wearing a size 14, if I'm going upstairs or even downstairs, if I'm going downstairs, my heel will catch on because I'm not putting my foot forward enough because I'm used to a certain thing. But also if I'm going upstairs, my toe will catch. And I've fallen upstairs more than a couple times. And you look like a goof and you try not to be carrying anything when it happens. So I have to be cognizant of when I'm taking stairs. In my brain, I'll be like, what, 14 or 13? Like I have to really think of the size of my shoe, which is so fucking dumb. like I'm a pro bowler at all times. What shoe will I get from the counter? I don't know if pro bowlers rent their shoes, but they should. You know what? Fuck that. I don't give a fuck if you're Pete Webb or whoever the fuck. You should still have to rent the shoes. Be humble. You're not fucking the Michael Jordan of bowling. Rent the goddamn shoes. So I'm sure you see where this is going. I put my left foot up on the stage and I stand up and my right foot catches the lip of the stage. And I was already kind of about to settle my weight onto that leg. All right. So my left leg is on the stage and I stand up and I go to pull my right leg up and I go to put my weight on my right leg, but then my foot, the toe of my shoe, catches the lip of the stage, and I go down, and I go down hard. I'm lucky there wasn't a monitor by where I fell. I fall on the stage, and I knock over the mic stand, and I should tell you, it was straight 9/11, like just a complete tower collapse. There was no fucking maybes about it. It was that thing where I went up and I caught my toe on the fucking stage, and I fell, and I hit, and I'm, a big dude. I hit the stage, and it's like whoomp, and then my momentum carries me to the left, and I roll over off the fucking stage and fall 2 feet to the ground. Just whomp, and I knock over. There was a table in the front nobody was sitting at, thankfully, and the 2 stools that are there, I knock the stools over and send the table flying. And it happens quick, you know what I mean? I step up, he's like, Mike Schmidt, yeah, everybody clap, 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 trip, fall, bam, whap, bounce, tables fly, chairs go down. And I didn't even tell you this at the scene. At this show, there was only like 5 people paying attention to the comedy. 5 actual paying customers. Then there was a bunch of comedians who were either in the side room or just a little, comics aren't going to sit up front. And the Lakers, like I said, unique circumstances. The Lakers were playing the Warriors on television. It was a playoff game. And in the back of the room, there was a pool tournament. Not just 2 people playing pool. There was a good 20 people in the back of the room playing a pool tournament with a fucking sign-up board and a grease pencil and the whole fucking bit. So, the room's already back heavy. Everybody's back there. But it didn't matter because when I hit the stage and then fell down, like I said, it happens quick and you're all scrambled and kind of turned upside down. And I heard everybody, because I fucking went down, dudes. And I got up and kind of like, I did, I don't want to say a karate stance, but I got up like a hold, almost like you spread legged with your hands out, like ha ha, and looked at everybody, and they were just like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I looked, and Lenny's like, "Jesus Christ, are you all right?" I just kind of wave and blew a kiss, I think, and I walked up on stage. Because then I go to the side and there's like something that's halfway up, so I took the one stair or whatever that I didn't fucking see, and I got up on stage and just took the microphone and I go, that was fucking crazy, right? And everybody's like, yes, it was. Even the fucking bar people are like, what the fuck just happened? The pool tournament. People rushed to the front to see what had happened. But I go, that was fucking crazy, right? And they're like, yeah. And then I proceed to tell them about my shoes and try to do it in as funny a way as I possibly can. And then, a comedian says, and I'm like, I'm unkillable, dude. I can't die. I go, I'm fine. And then I will say this, I was funny about it, but I also, because you'll make fun of me here, I didn't want to make the whole thing about that because I was supposed to be working on material. Like there's a couple things I wanted to try. So, I could have talked about that for 10 minutes probably, but instead I talked about it for just a couple minutes and then pivoted to the stuff I had prepared. And that went great. And I don't know if it was sympathy or what the fuck, but it went well, and whatever the jokes were, they did good. I will tell you this, like, some of the people Lenny books, they've been in the business a really long time, and they, I cringed. Like I was when I was listening to them, I was just kind of like, hey, Jesus, man, they're doing tone deaf bits, you know what I mean? And they're trying to, because again, I'm old. I'm 55, but I think I'm fairly enlightened. I don't know, when you hear me and Lily talking later, perhaps you won't agree with me because of some of my opinions that came out. But I look at the world differently than I think a normal 55-year-old white guy does, in my opinion. Perhaps that's incorrect, but that's how I feel. And I try to be pragmatic. I try to look at it both sides, whatever the fuck, but I believe what I believe, and don't hurt anybody, try to help people, whatever the fuck. But like, these dudes are all kind of they're trying to make sense of the world the pronouns and the, you know, the transgender situation and things like that. And they're just tone deaf. You know, they're not making fun, but they're trying to, it's like they shouldn't even talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, dude, look, I don't know what you do, you know, where they work, or but and maybe in clubs it's a different story, because I haven't been in any clubs really except for Zanies, and at that point, you know, I'm not doing it in my act, so who the fuck cares? But it wasn't, like I said, it's not offensive where you're just like, fuck, but it's just that thing where, like, why are you? It's artless. Why are you even talking about this if you don't have a unique point of view? Why are you talking about this if you have nothing new to say? You know, it's like it's a hack bit with the, you know, you saw Roseanne do it in her fucking special and stuff. My pronouns are fuck you. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever the fuck. All those dumb fucking people who make the same fucking joke. And when you see like Jim Brewer out there doing dumb shit, or Owen Benjamin, these comics who just, you know, they pander. They're pandering to their fucking right-wing dumb audience. And look, if you're right-wing, good for you. I'm not trying to start a fucking fight here. You might think I'm dumb, and that's totally fine. But, you know, when you hear it on stage in the room, or you hear a guy do an Asian person's voice and pronouncing the R's as L's, you're just like, dude. And look, I say some dumb shit on this podcast. I know that. Because I'm sitting here talking about this, and you're probably going to go, hey, remember last week? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so, maybe. But be doing it on stage, again, artlessly. Like, if you've got a different point of view, or if you've got a way to make it, funny excuses everything. So, but if you're just vomiting out nonsense that doesn't have any unique point of view, then I don't understand why you're doing it. It just seems like, you know, leave it to, I don't want to say they're professionals, because these people work and have been working for 35, 40 years. So who the fuck am I? But I will also say this, and again, this is me jerking off and whatever the fuck. People laughed, like, because other guys were getting complete silence or whatever, but I was getting laughs. Not that I shocked them into laughing at me by fucking falling off the World Trade Center, possibly by bouncing myself like a fucking basketball and knocking over all the furniture, perhaps. But I like to think it's also because I had personality. Like I delivered the material with zest. For lack of a better word. Like, I lived it. Like, I sold the bits, and these other guys were just talking, and I'm like, my God, what are you doing, man? I don't, because look, when you're only talking to 5 people, yeah, it can be rough. There's no doubt. But you have to understand, it's, you know, that's the gig. And look, these guys are used to playing 500-seat theaters or whatever on the boat. And so I can't and should not judge. I do, and it's wrong. And who am I to fucking talk? I fell off the stage. Like, I'm sitting here like, these guys, I'll tell you what, their professional approaches were lacking. Meanwhile, I do a fucking human cannonball swan dive off the fucking stage and knock over 2 stools like bowling pins. Holy fuck, what happened in my rented size 14 shoes? Oh, fuck me, man. I don't know. I got no right to say anything about anybody. And also, if you recall, the time I did stand up in fucking Santa Clarita or whatever at the fucking restaurant, I pulled the mic out of the stand and hit myself in the mouth. So this getting back into stand up is going to be, it's alarmingly difficult to my health. I don't know what the fuck's going to, I need to get fucking my insurance thing straightened out before I get back on stage again. Hit myself in the mouth. I'm bleeding while I'm doing stand up. This time I fall down onto the stage and then fall off the stage 2 feet and knock shit over. I mean, man, oh man, I'm a danger to myself and others. This whole thing, I want to be great. It's like, hey, you know what? I want to be in one piece. I just want to be alive at the end of stand up sets from this point on. What a fucking mess. But, the material went well. I was happy. I rolled with it. People were very kind, and it was good. I was excited. It made me happy. I want to keep doing it. I want to go up more and more, and that's the plan. And I will have to fucking catalog whatever shoe I'm going to wear on stage so I don't go fucking, stepping on my dick and falling off the fucking thing again. But whatever, it went well, so I was happy. So that's my career, that's my future. I'm going to be the fucking Chevy Chase of comedy, and that's a reference that none of you get because it's 8,000 years old. Just constantly falling down on shit. Maybe it's more Jackass, I guess. Chevy Chase was a plan. With me, it's more fucking Rab himself falling into a pile of hedges because why not? Just grim. You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. I think I already did this all with Lily. Should I do it now? Yeah, what the fuck? Who cares? You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40year-old-boy. You guys can follow me at Twitter.com/the40year-old-boy. I'm also at Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok at Mike40YOB. You can find me on there. I'm doing the job, doing the do. All of those places are places where you can contact me, and I appreciate you even reaching out or thinking of me in any way, shape, or form. Now that I'm driving a possible jalopy and I'm 5 seconds away from always falling and breaking my jaw, it's great. I'm doing well for myself. So follow me at those places. That'd be great. Did you know I'm part of the Misfit Toys Co-op? I am. Let me get some water. Part of the Misfit Toys Co-op. Never Not Funny. Doug Loves Movies. The Todd Glass Show. No Fun with Jen Kirkman. Hey, That's Pointy with Danielle and Christine. Check them all out. They're all good shows. The Mental Illness Happy Hour with my good friend Paul Gilmartin. He and I have been watching hockey lately, and I should throw this out to my Canadian friends. First of all, I'll throw this out to my buddy Ken. That's right, a very specific message. Hey, man, I am sorry. That's a tough one. When your team literally has the best season in the history of the league, and then they lose in the first round of the playoffs. That's crushing, and I'm sorry for you. But also, I go the other route. I was rooting hard for the Maple Leafs, and they are out now. They've lost, which is a drag. So I can now it's down to Edmonton. Like, Edmonton is the team I'm rooting for. I'm going, all right, it's all about Edmonton. Because as you know, the way it works for me with my hierarchy with the Stanley Cup, I root for the Chicago Blackhawks, who, by the way, I don't know if you've heard, the Blackhawks won the NHL draft lottery. Yeah, they sure did. And the frozen Christ child, Hockey Jesus himself, Connor Bedard, will be coming to the Chicago Blackhawks in the draft in a couple of months. And he's a generational talent, and it's really fucking exciting. And all of the other fan bases in the NHL are fucking furious and mad. And it makes me laugh because, you know what? Fuck off. I don't care. And also, I'm going to be dead soon. So let me enjoy some fucking hockey. So give me another good hockey team before I die. Go be mad at the Penguins. They had generational talents fucking forever. So the Hawks have Connor Bedard, and I'm very excited for it. But then I root for the Blackhawks in the playoffs, and because they stunk, they weren't in the playoffs. So then I root for Canada, and Winnipeg was eliminated, and now Toronto is eliminated, and Edmonton remains. They're trailing, however. They trail Vegas 3-2. Here's the thing, man. We could wind up with the Stanley Cup final that's Las Vegas and Florida. And, man, fuck off. All right? If you have sand anywhere in your city, you should not belong in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm sorry. I don't... You know, we'll never have to have Phoenix in it because Phoenix blows, but just... And I'll tell you this. I like this Florida team. They're entertaining. They're fun. They play their asses off. They beat Boston and did it they were down 3-1 and came back and won. They were fucking... They're pesky. They swarm. They score. And here's the thing. You know, last year, Florida won the President's Trophy. They were the best team in hockey last year. And then they got knocked off in the playoffs. People forget that this year, because they were the 8th seed coming in this year, and they knocked off the Bruins, who were this fucking monolith. And now they beat the Leafs, unfortunately. Unfortunately, as Heath Ledger would say as the Joker. So now the Leafs are home, so now I got to root for Edmonton. Because now if Edmonton loses, then I got to root for Seattle. And you're like, what the fuck, really? Yeah, I am, because they're fun to watch too. They swarm. They got a bunch of dudes who are just fucking. They know their jobs and they do them. It's great. It's it's kind of like Florida West. I don't want Dallas to win. You know, I don't want. And look, Carolina's fine, I suppose, but that's the thing. We're down to Carolina, Florida, Vegas, Edmonton, Dallas, and Seattle. I mean, that doesn't sound like the Stanley Cup at all, right? That sounds like the teams in basketball. Quite frankly, the cities all had basketball franchises. So I don't want, Dallas and Florida. No. So if it's Seattle and Florida, yes. Edmonton and Florida right now is what I'm rooting for. But then after that, man, who knows? I mean, it's just, again, if you have a beach, you do not belong in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Go fucking swim. These people live in frozen fucking conditions all year long. Says the man who went to Canada and was at 100-degree weather. But still, let Canadians have this, man. Fuck, it's their sport. Just get out of their fucking way. Florida has to come and steal it, or Vegas. These fucking idiot teams. Nobody likes them. And I was rooting for Vegas the first year, because it would have been a funny story if they would have won the fucking championship, because it's even funnier for the Leafs then, because the Leafs haven't won a championship in like 70 years, or it's 56 now, I think. So whatever, this is hockey talk that nobody cares about. But yeah, so sorry to Canadian people. Let's all rally behind Edmonton and get a cup up north. Let's do it. And Edmonton isn't even a fucking franchise that I enjoy, but they have two of the top 5 players in hockey and the best player in hockey, clearly, in Connor McDavid. And so they're fun to root for. They're also fun to watch. Their power play is lethal. They're great. So hopefully they can win the next 2 games and knock off Vegas and let them stay at home. And then, I'll take an Edmonton-Seattle Western Conference final, but Seattle trails Dallas 3-2 now. Why am I giving you this hockey update? Fucking crazy. You know why? Because I fell and I hit my head, and now I'm forced to give you hockey updates now in this show. This show has gone from just being a regular comedy show about my life to also having a sliver of hockey every week. I'm gonna have a hockey corner. I'm gonna be the new Don Cherry is who I'm gonna be. I'm Don Mouthful of Cherries this morning. I'm mumbling like a motherfucker, but I will do that from now on. I'll bring you a hockey because again the Blackhawks are coming back. It's gonna be great. And I'll just play fucking Chelsea Dagger for you guys. Although I will say this, that's been the Hawks goal song all through the last 15 years. And if you don't know that song, it goes. It's a great song. And it's when they score, that's their goal song. I believe they should retire that song. Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane are gone. Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook and Patrick Sharp and Marian Hossa. That team is gone. That is a fantastic era of Blackhawk hockey. And I think going forward now with the Connor Bedard and Lucas Reichel and fucking Frank Pananza, I don't know, they got a couple of guys, and Seth Jones. They should have a new goal song starting next year. And let Bedard pick it. And I'm sure he'll pick some fucking sing-songy TikTok song because he's 17 fucking years old, but that's fine with me. Hockey Jesus, I'll live with your musical tastes. It's totally fine. So yeah, that's been Hockey Corner, and we'll get to it next week. I can't wait to bring you more. I actually reached out. I mentioned Joe Bartnick was at Lenny's show. Joe Bartnick hosts a show called Puck Off, and it's him and Fraser Thomas? No, Fraser Thomas is in Chicago. Fraser Smith. Fraser Smith's a longtime Los Angeles comedian. And I will tell you this, I did Puck Off with Joe Bartnick and Fraser Smith 7 years ago. I'm going to say 2000, it might even be 8 years ago. 2015, 16, I don't even remember. But the show's on All Things Comedy, I believe. And I sat in with them. They didn't know who I was. I got referred by somebody. So I went and did the show, and afterwards, Joe Bartnick is like, "You were fucking great. Hockey, you're funny." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's cool. I love doing this. This was really awesome." And here we are 8 years later. I've never been asked back. I've never even reached out or tried to go back. Well, that changes. I've reached out to Joe Bartnick to see if I can do Puck Off. I said, "Look, I'm hockey knowledgeable. I'm a comic. I'm a Hawks fan. I can talk Bedard. I can talk the draft. I can talk playoffs, whatever." And I said, also, I was on the show, and it went well 30 years ago. And he was like, "Thanks for reaching out." So who knows? Now I've put my name in the mix, and that's all you can hope for, is to be in the mix. In the meantime, though, if you want to hear your hockey talk from me, just pull up a fucking stool and listen to pull up a Zamboni and listen to my sliver of Hockey Corner every week here on the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast, where we delve deep into organizations. You know what I'll do? I'm going to do this. I'll give you a little playoff update every week, and then also I will go ahead and delve into individual teams. We'll start to look at their outlooks for next year. We'll start to preview the draft. I'm excited about Hockey Corner. Not as excited about the name. Puck Off destroys my name. Hockey Corner is just dumb. We need, I don't want to say the 40-year-old stick. We need something better than that. Mouthful of Grapes. I don't mind that because Don Cherry's nickname was Grapes. I said Mouthful of Cherries. How about Mouthful of Grapes? I don't know. I'm accepting titles for the segment of Hockey Corner, so please submit them to me whenever you get the chance. And maybe I can sell a hockey show to the Misfit Toys Co-op. Why not? Get me on there. I'll just have a million shows. Gil Martin and I should host a hockey show. And as we talk about being depressed and sad for an hour, and then we mention pucks for the last 10 minutes. Misfit Toys Co-op, Never Done Funny, Doug Loves Movies, The Todd Glass Show, No Fun with Jen Kirkman, Mental Illness Happy Hour, and Who's Hiding Behind That Dumpster with Christine and Danielle. You know, I'm on Cameo. You can hire me for that. If you want to do Hockey Corner on the phone, I'm happy to do it. Give me a team and I'll preview a team. Who out there loves hockey and has $20? Use it to book me for a cameo where I talk about your favorite hockey team in depth. I won't even fuck around. Perhaps I'll even delve into your minor league team in Kamloops. Maybe I'll talk about World Juniors. What the fuck do you want, man? Happy to do it. I've been to a bunch of minor league hockey. I went to a Kitchener Rangers game with my friends Tanya and Mike last time I was in Canada. I used to go to the Green Bay Gamblers games when I was in Wisconsin all the time. That was totally fun. Dina and John had season tickets. They were friends with my ex, and they would invite us, and they were host families. They would have kids living in their house, like hockey players and stuff. And they had a suite. We got to use an elevator. It was really nice, man. They were super cool. Man, I loved those people. You know what's funny? You know, when you're in a relationship with somebody and then you meet people that you really like, and then, of course, the relationship ends, and, everything's on fire, and you can't reach out and go, hey, I kind of liked you guys. Because, everybody gets somebody in the divorce. And I had never really established any sort of real friendship with them. It was always a conduit through my ex. But I really liked John and Dina. They were super nice people. And I hope they're doing well. Says I don't even know. I'm sure they listen every week. They play me live. They sit around with the hockey kids and play gin rummy or whatever the fuck. I'm on Cameo. Book me. Why not? I'll talk about your hockey teams or whatever the fuck you need. It's Mother's Day in like 2 days. So go ahead and book me for that. It's under the gun. It'll be one of the any number of shitty Mother's Day gifts that I've read about. I keep getting these fucking, and this says a lot about me. Salt and Straw is like an ice cream joint, which is owned by The Rock, which is ridiculous. And then there's a Jenny's ice cream. Like they keep reaching out and saying stuff like, hey, it's Mom's Day. Why don't you buy her this dumb ice cream? And I don't know, man. But also, on Twitter, Twitter has become Hollywood Boulevard in that it's filled with some celebrities on the ground and then mostly t-shirt shops and garbage. And people pretending to be what they're not. So you see these fucking businesses on Twitter and they all sell those. Have you ever seen those shirts that have like a paragraph on them? You'll always be the closest person in my life, but never forget that your father loves you more than anything in the whole world, and I'm the proudest dad and the proudest papa you'll ever see. You know what I mean? Like those big, who the fuck is buying that garbage? And I just recently, all the Mother's Day trinkets, like there's, I saw there was a throw blanket and it said, I'm a mom who loves books. And I have to be honest, if your kid, and like I don't have any kids, so I don't know, but if my kid got me a throw, and again, if your kid's 9, that's a different story. If they're like, ooh, mommy might like that, that's fine, whatever the fuck. And you put it in a closet forever. But if your kid, or your fucking husband, of all people, gets you the I'm just a mom who loves books throw blanket, just throw everything you own into it and tie it up like a bindle and jump on a hobo train and get out of town. Just fucking leave. Move on, because they don't care about you. They haven't thought about the things you love or like the entire time you've been in their life. And that's got to be embarrassing. Like when I was dating people, I would always make it a point. I wanted to know sizes. I wanted to know what they liked. I wanted to know, and I would do it. It wasn't like I didn't have a fucking clipboard, but I'd casually ask, or I'd say stuff where we'd talk and I'd be like, oh, you like that kind of thing? Whatever. So then you knew later. So then you could find something that was totally cool. Because my favorite thing about that is then sitting there waiting for them to open it and realizing that something they told you about 8 months ago, you remembered it, and now it's Christmas and you saw the opportunity to get them something. I fucking love that, dude. That's like the coolest thing in the world, where you're sitting there, you're like, oh yeah, no, I can pull this off. And you make a mental note of what people like, and you fucking, I love it so much. Like, all right, I'll tell you this thing, because why not? I might have even told you this on the show a million years ago, because this was one of my favorite things I ever did. I was dating my ex. And when I say dating, by the way, we were sneaking around behind our spouses' backs. I'm not a good person, certainly not at the time. And but we were kind of, it was becoming a thing. It had gone from texting into whatever the fuck. And she had mentioned, we were talking about going to concerts and stuff. We were kids, and she mentioned a band, and she mentioned she got in trouble once because she went and saw Loverboy, and Loverboy had a shirt, a concert shirt that said "Get it up, keep it up" on the shirt, on their concert shirt. And she had bought it at the concert, and she came home, and her parents, she got in trouble from her parents, and they made her take it off. They wouldn't let her wear it. They took it away. And she told me that story. It was a cool story. And then, the next time I was alone, I scoured the internet. I was like, I have to find this fucking shirt. I had, just because it was worth it to me to just see her face. I just wanted to see, because then they know. And I know this will sound stupid. They should know you love them or you care for them or whatever. But I mean, it was in the fledgling, it was the beginning of the relationship. So it wasn't, we weren't, ready to kill one another or love one another just yet. But I wanted to have that shirt. So then when I gave it to her, I could just see her face. So then they knew you're listening. They knew you were going to find something cool. They knew, they knew you cared. I did it once when she tried on a dress here in LA. I think I told this story, and she was telling me about it. And then I took her to the airport and I went right back to the dress shop and I found it and I bought it. And I bought her a whole outfit. I bought her fucking shoes and fucking stocking, this whole outfit for this one night when we went out. And this is because this is early on before, again, murders had happened. And just giving that to her and just seeing her face. You know what I mean? That's fucking amazing. And you can do it. Look, it doesn't have to be with a person you're dating. You can be with a friend. If you hear them say something and then later on you fucking see it and you grab it and you give it to them and they're just like, why? What the, how? And in your brain, you're just like, well, I know you like this kind of thing. There's nothing better than seeing the look on someone's face when they realize that you listen and you care. Oh, fuck, is that beautiful? And it's, it's certainly better when it's a girlfriend or a spouse, but still. So hire me on Cameo. That's the kind of wisdom I'll dispense to your aunts and uncles and your cousins and whoever the fuck else you want me to talk to. Or again, we'll just talk about hockey. I can go to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan and talk about that club all day. Or the Regina, whatever the fucks. They're out there. By the way, their jersey's a mess because they had to put Regina, whatever the fuck's out of. There's not a lot of room on those jerseys for all those letters. So I'm on Cameo. Hire me for that. You're all very nice. Of course, the Patreon exists. PayPal exists on the website. Upper right-hand corner, there's a little Schmitty. Horn Boy, click on that if you want. I feel stupid because you've all just fulfilled a fucking GoFundMe, so why am I sitting here going, I have Patreon, duh. Fucking idiot. All right. But you're all very kind, and everybody's been very nice to me and helped me out in myriad ways. And I'll tell you this, I start bartending school in earnest this week. I have to go back for some orientation on Monday and then take first class Monday, and my plan is to take classes every day. For 2 weeks. And then by the end of it, well, look at me. I'm a sommelier. That's what I'll do. I got to buy a sword. I got to fucking chop a cork off. I can do that. I don't know. Regardless, hopefully I can make a gin and tonic in fucking 4 days. We'll see. But that starts in earnest. And now that I've got the car cleared by mechanic, I can get it cleared by Uber and get back on the road. But the plan is to drive only in the daytime and only a couple of days a week so I can possibly do bartending gigs and then fill in the driving around it, so I'm not spending a ton for gas because the gas station that I used to go to by my house that had the cheap gas is now $5.35 a gallon, and that's for unleaded. Just plain, like the 89, not the 91. It's $5.35 a gallon. That was my original go-to gas station. There's another one that I got to drive like 4 miles to, and I haven't had to go there. So I'll bet that's probably like $4.89 because it's usually 50 cents to 80 cents cheaper. So, which is fine with me because again, that's, you get a 16-gallon tank, you save fucking $8. But the point is, I don't want to be out driving. I mean, I don't want anybody to throw up in my new car. I don't want this fucking shit to happen. So, get a gig and then drive around it a little bit and then start doing stand-up more and get to the gym and, oh, look at me, look at you. I got a list. I got plans. Do you know I have channels as well? And you're like, well, was one of your plans to be back on Twitch? It was, but trying to figure, whatever, you don't give a fuck. Twitch.tv/the40year-old-boy, YouTube.com/the40year-old-boy. Those exist. Go ahead and check them out. I'm out there in the world. Those are 2 television stations that I own that I do nothing with. I could at least put the national anthem on there to sign off. Who the fuck knows? But youtube.com/. See, here's the thing. Go follow both channels, please, because then it's like, then I have numbers at least, and then eventually there'll be content to match those numbers. What a failure. All right. Twitch.tv/the40year-old-boy, youtube.com/the40year-old-boy. Go check those channels out and follow them if you would. And let's talk about our friend David Hernandez. He has got his Phlegmcat podcast out there, the Phlegmcat podcast. out there for you to check out and enjoy. Please, it's To Be Loved, To Be Loved, To Be Loved, To Be Loved. Please check it out. He does amazing things. He sings, he does voices, he does characters. I'm sure he talks about golf a lot these days. Go to facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez and you can be his pal and friend. And then subscribe to the podcast wherever the finer podcasts are found. And speaking of that, folks, speaking of these podcasts, well, let's talk a little bit about our great friend, Fearful Jesuit, over at Paranoid Strain headquarters, because as I mentioned last week and the week before, the man has done well, not the week before. I guess I put out 2 shows last week. Look at me doing fucking. I was just about to say he's doing yeoman's work. I'm doing yeoman's work, putting out 2 shows. What the fuck? And yes, I know it's Saturday. It's a weekend show now. But you know what? What are you doing besides? What, you listen to baseball on a transistor radio? Grab your fucking iPod vaginas and go mow the lawn. Ride a lawnmower while you're listening to this fucking show. Here you go. It's Saturday in the Park with Mike. Saturday in the park. I've got to listen to the 40-year-old boy. No, wait. It's too many syllables. Saturday in the park. Listening to the 40-year-old boy. Still one more syllable. People laughing. Hey, those people are laughing. And talking about pucks. All right. Our great friend, Fearful Jesuit, Act 5 of the Paranoid Strain, Upon a Red Horse, is the name of the entire suite. It is almost 5 hours of podcasting. 5 goddamn hours of brilliant fucking podcasting. Go check it out. If you haven't downloaded it, you should. If you've downloaded it and you haven't listened, you absolutely should. It is, it's a monumental podcasting achievement. It's songs, it's music, it's narrative, it's voice acting. It's incredible. It's crazy stuff. Act 5 is out now. I will tell you, it starts with another great instrumental piece. I don't know. I will tell you this, because when he sent Acts 1 and 2, he gave me a song listing. But the songs are listed at the Paranoid Strain Facebook page, so you'll be able to see them. But the great instrumental piece that opens Act 5 is incredible. And then we were visited by some old friends. I know you're wondering who that might be. Well, it's the Chads. But I will tell you, the Chads are now Shads. And that's all I'll say. I won't put any context on that whatsoever. But if you listen, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's good to see Squonky and Fergie and Zona and Moisty, or Moisty and Fergie and Zona and Squonky, or Fergie, the Squonk, Zona and Moisty, whatever you want to call these fellas, along with our great friend Fearful Jesuit. It's the whole band together. And at the end of Act 5, he gives a real reading of the credits. So you hear all the voice actors' names, you hear all of the band members' names, you hear who wrote what. There's a fucking gatefold album you can print out. It's all available on SoundCloud. This is fucking real work. I mean, it's like, again, I'm sitting here firing off fucking, verbs into a microphone at top speed, but that's nothing compared to what this guy did. He sat down. There's meter and timber. It's all over the fucking place. Go ahead and check it out. I will tell you this, though. The word Svengali makes an appearance in this podcast. And it's used with a particularly eccentric pronunciation that I didn't care for. Now, I'm not being critical of the show, and this actor's choice is wonderful. But he said like Svengali. It was like a verbal leer. Okay, it felt like a ghost tongue in my ear, if that makes any sense. It felt like somebody licked my ear like weirdly from the grave. It was I didn't care for the pronunciation of Svengali. I mean, it's, again, fantastic work, amazing, and I'm not picking nits here. But I will say, when the guy said Svengali, I got a shiver. I was like, I didn't just the way he fucking hit it. It was pretty crazy. Again, a verbal leer was the way I would describe it. But and then I had ghost spit in my ear, which nobody likes. But this particular act deals with the demise of MJF. I don't think I'm giving away anything here. I don't want to go ahead and spoil. But if you've listened to the first 4 acts, and you may have already listened to Act 5 already, because it's been out and it's being enjoyed by people all over the planet. There are historical landmarks along the way in this show. We get a little Oklahoma City. We get a little 9/11. We get Osama's involved and whatever. You'll hear it. I don't want to give too many things away about the narrative. I will say that the soundtrack or the instrumental that accompanies the MJF Swan song is ridiculously great. It is this fever dream track that plays underneath essentially a person falling apart. And it's so good. I mean, it's just really good stuff. And I will say this, I know one of the songs was called 68 Black Camaro. I was trying to pick names out, but I had a better time this time without picking out names, because again, I didn't have them on a list. But I would say there's multiple songs in the first 4 acts. They're all over the place. The songs are great, but they have different genres. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned a song that sounded like Chicago. I mentioned a song that sounded like the Dead Milkman and stuff like that, because their influences are all over the place. All these guys, the Squonky and Fergie and Zona E and Moist E and of course Jesuit E. They all have different influences, and they bring them all to the table. But in Act 5, I found, for my own money, and I didn't pay because the damn thing's free. Go get it right now wherever your best podcasts are delivered. I would say that multiple songs felt like they were all part of a suite, and it felt like a Rubber Soul feel, these songs. There's like 5 songs in a row that the vocal approach and the instrumentals, it sounded very Rubber Soul to me. And in my first mind, I was like, is this like a Revolver or Rubber Soul? And as more songs played, I was like, this is Rubber Soul. It's what it sounded like to me. So just unbelievable tip-top work from Fearful Jesuit and all of his compadres, the Paranoid Strain Orchestra, fucking working their asses off. And the guy who mixed it all and put it all together, and I can't even imagine. And now he says they might be playing live. So I'll tell you that if they may be scheduling some live dates in the Bay Area, you might want to go check that out. It's funny to me now, because Fearful Jesuit, unless he's going to perform in costume, you're going to know who he is because he's been using a pseudonym on the show. But you know what? When you do great work, you kind of want to step forward and get credited for it. So I don't blame him. If you haven't downloaded it, download it now. The Paranoid Strain podcast. Go ahead and subscribe and get acts 1 through 5 of Upon a Red Horse. And it is there, and it is amazing. And it is work that, like I said, I couldn't do. David could do it, because David is extremely talented and measured and disciplined. Hold on, there's a phone going off. Do you hear it? Hold on, let's hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. It's through the wall. Lou's getting a phone call from somebody about gin or wine. Hey, can we have a conversation about fucking liqueurs? Let's talk about Chambord. Chambord sounds great. I want to drink the fuck out of Chambord. I think I may have mentioned that on the show already. So there you go. So we get the Paranoid Strain. It's an amazing thing. And I will tell you this, the voice acting is really just... It's all so good. Just go ahead and check it out. And so when you hear the show at the end, he will credit a bunch of people. And I will say this for no other reason, all right, than to get you to possibly listen if you haven't listened yet. I do a voice in Act 5, and I don't, I'm not. Believe me, I'm no fucking High Point. I'm just an ensemble player like everybody else. And I was honored to be asked. And then when you hear it unfolding and stuff, you're like, Jesus Christ, why is my voice even in this? He's got so many fucking talented people around him. It was kind of him to ask me to be involved, and it made me very happy. So go ahead and check it out. The Paranoid Strain podcast is terrific. And then get all 5 acts of Upon a Red Horse. I believe is it Upon a Red Horse or On a Red Horse? Yeah, I'm fucking it up. Just do the last 5 things. Download them and listen. They're amazing. Go to SoundCloud. You can also get the album, the liner notes, and it's brilliant. So go ahead and check out the whole package. It's terrific. And yeah, now there's going to be some fucking commercial for zebra meat, and then we're going to have a fucking chunk of me and Lily talking about stuff. And I will try desperately not to fall off my fucking chair as I bring you the rest of this show. All right. Thanks.
Moms are amazing at tracking down hard-to-find items. Library books, socks, you name it. But sometimes help is welcomed. Care.com makes it easy to find babysitters near you. Sitters with the experience and skills your family needs, like after-school pickup and homework help. You just post a job for qualified sitters to apply. And since all Care.com caregivers are background checked, you can feel confident about interviewing and hiring. To get the childcare help you need, sign up now at care.com.
If you're like me, my health and fitness are two things I'm extremely passionate about. Being fit and healthy makes me feel like a more effective and productive person. Whether you're looking to improve your fitness journey or just get started, the Mind Pump podcast is your source for accurate fitness and health information. They've got episodes that cover almost every topic, from how to build muscle faster, the most effective ways to lose body fat, and ways to improve your energy, sleep, and overall health. Search Mind Pump on your favorite podcast app and give them a listen. They are fun, entertaining, and informative. That's Mind Pump, wherever podcasts are found.
Trying to grab all the groceries in one trip? Oof, not how you would have done that. You know sometimes less is more. Like when you drive less and save with the USAA annual mileage discount. USAA. Get a quote today.
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy. Podcast. God, I got stuck. That's weird. That doesn't happen often. Hi, how are you guys? I'm on a Zoom with my friend Lily. Hi, Lily. How are you?
Hi.
Wonderful. Well, that didn't really answer my question. How are you? You said hi.
Well, it is. that is a loaded question with my health. So hi.
I emailed you a script. You're supposed to answer the question. God damn it!
I didn't
it was
get
right
the
there.
script. I'm sorry.
What
I didn't
the
read the
hell?
notes.
Perhaps I didn't send it. Perhaps I didn't write it. That could be the case. Look, I won't lie. I may have gotten ahead of myself and thought I wrote a script, and it turns out I did not. Sometimes I make that leap, and it's foolish. Oftentimes, because the show. Everybody knows the show is highly scripted. It's absolutely to the final. Although I don't do that. When do I do that a lot? Does that happen a lot in the show? You know what? When I do All Night by Kiss, oftentimes I'll cover that on here, and then we're scripted right there, so I can do the with our friend Paul Stanley, whom I love and adore. And I did receive some email last week. Let's talk about that real quick. People are nice, and there were some look. You weren't here for this last week. I must tell you. We did our segment, and then I did another segment because I have homework that I have to do, and you don't want to be around for that, and I don't fucking blame you.
It wasn't that I don't want to. It's that when we start later in the day, I don't always have enough time, and my health sometimes doesn't let me. I always want to be here.
Well, I wasn't presuming that. What I meant to say is you didn't need to be here for it. How about that? Because it's me going over Jesuit's shows, I have to break it down in a way, which I'll just mention it now. If you haven't downloaded Paranoid Strain with our great friend Fearful Jesuit and his, brace yourselves, 4.5-hour rock opera about a mythical character, I can't even explain, because it sounds so outlandish to even say it out loud. He wrote a 5-hour rock opera suite about a guy that he made up. It's not even about a real guy. He based it on the life of another guy, and then he wrote you know what he could do, what he should do, quite frankly? Now he should write 5 hours on the real guy. He should just, that should be his deal from now on. He picks a guy and then makes a fictional version of that guy and writes a rock opera about him, and then goes, you know what? I don't think the story's been told, and then finds another guy, the same guy, and writes the rock opera about the real fucking guy. So then he got a 10-hour rock opera about a guy and his alter ego by a guy who is his own alter ego on his own fucking podcast. Because Fearful Jesuit, I'm going to let you in on a secret here. Brace yourselves. Not his real name. Shocking, what? I know. Yeah, right? It's a pseudonym or a nom de plume. I don't know if either of those apply. It's both of the same, right? Isn't nom de plume a pseudonym? I think it is.
I believe it is.
I have no thesaurus.
It's the pseudonym for pseudonym.
It might be. It might be the nom de plume for pseudonym. So I don't know. So anyway, so there you go. So you didn't have to be here for that because you haven't heard the rock opera, and then you would have to sit here fawningly as I described a rock opera to you, and you'd just be like, I get enough of your bullshit anyway. I don't need to sit here and listen to your fucking rock opera nonsense. But blame Jesuit. It's not me. It's him. It's his fault. God damn it. So also last week we put out 5.5 hours ourselves of podcasts. Fucking idiots. So I got nothing for you this week. I am on fucking fumes. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I'm very lucky to have Lily here because she's gonna go ahead and fucking flint some rocks and try to throw some sparks on the fire that could be this podcast and get me talking about shit, for Christ's sake, because I got a whole lot of zero. Oh wait, there's people. Hold on, sorry. What the fuck? I'm sorry. There's people looking
in your window?
No. My manager is taking people to the courtyard. and they're going up the stairs. That's why I can see them. I couldn't see them if they were in the. All right, there's 2 women, 2 guys, and a dog, like a fucking big. It's not a German Shepherd. Might be. Is that Scooby in the gang? Hold on a second. I'm not even kidding. It's fucking 2 dudes, 2 chicks, and a dog. And is my building about to become the headquarters for the Mystery Machine? It just might. Holy shit! It's going to be a great summer over here, baby. I got to warn Old Man Patterson because these meddling kids are moving to my building. What are they doing here? Oh, and she's kind of. Ooh, how you doing, Lady Fonzie? She's got a leather coat on.
Lady Fonzie.
She looks like a Lady Fonzie. She's got a leather. Oh no, and she's got Here they come down the stairs. Hold on. There's that dude in shorts. He doesn't belong with that chick. Leave her alone. I don't know if he's with her. He might not be with her. There's one of the girls is in she's got dirty dishwater blonde hair and a leather jacket. Oh, and you know what she's doing? And you guys will make fun of me. I've talked about this before. You know what I find attractive in a lady is I like the taste of liquor on a woman's lips or on her tongue when you wind up kissing this person. For some reason I find it extremely sexy. Now I will tell you, if she's imbibed all day and it tastes like vomit, then I'm not on board with that. And I don't want some, and also look, I've kissed sloppy drunk chicks, so you get spit all over your fucking face and all that stuff. I've done all that stuff. That's happened in the past by year 1.
You're a secondhand drinker.
I am. That's it. I am. That's how I like it. I like the breath, the fumes. I like the taste of it. When a woman has wine or a beer and then you kiss her afterwards, there's not a whole lot sexier than that. I know it sounds weird, but for me that does it. Oh boy, that pulls the old ripcord and mows the lawn. I don't know if it's and I'm sure someone out there is gonna be like, well, that's because of your dad. Shut the fuck up.
That would be me.
Put your fucking pen and pad away. I'm not laying on your couch. Fuck off.
That is you kissing your dad.
Oh no, that's unfortunate. Don't make me report you to Scooby and the gang. He'll come right over to your house and take care of business. So I can't tell you if this woman's mouth tastes like liquor. I'm sure it doesn't. But she's doing another thing that I, for some reason, find sexy. The jacket is like one of those small. It's not a bolero jacket, but it's a leather jacket.
It's a short leather jacket.
And it looks like she could zip it because she's totally thin, but you would never zip it in a million years. But also the sleeves are short, so you can see like the baubles and stuff on her wrist. So like you're getting exposed wrist, and she's carrying like a coffee.
Are you like a weird vampire?
No, man. There's just shit that's
wrists and liquor on their lips. And
there's stuff that's fucking. Maybe there's a good chance. Perhaps I am a Dr. Alucard. You have no idea. But I find that sexy when like a woman is. It's very professional. It's very. She's carrying a coffee around in her hand. I know that sounds weird. I don't know. There's certain things that you'll see and you're like, that's kind of sexy. Like now, like if a chick had a fucking cigarette in her mouth, then I'm out. I mean, all right, that's not going to work. But a woman, just like, again, I can just see that she's like, if she was wearing a fucking pencil skirt and carrying a coffee around, holy fuck it, forget it. This podcast is over because I'd go running outside and going, hi, do you want to live in my house?
That is a 5-year-old's idea of a grown woman. She has coffee. Yay!
Yeah. And guess who you're talking to? Literally year 14. You don't know by now what the fuck is going on. You were gone for 2 of them. Did you forget? So she's got like I said, dirty dish blonde, like black roots kind of and but blondish on top. Wow, it could be Lita Ford. Maybe Lita Ford is moving into my building. Leather jacket and fucking black roots. I don't know. I'm a fan, but they're looking at but
she has at least 2 men with her, another woman and a dog.
And a dog. It's a leashed dog, but it is a big dog. It looks like, you know what it is? It's a Great Dane. That's what those dogs are. Because a German Shepherd has a sleek face.
Yeah.
This has more of a whatever face. So yeah, this is a Great Dane. I don't even know what Scooby was. What was Scooby?
A cartoon.
Truly, but at the same time, he had to be based on something. They didn't just draw a fucking weird dog.
Do I need to let you go so you can go hang out with the neighbor to be?
I kind of no. I just want to go. Literally, I want to go vouch for them. I want to throw a word in as a veteran of this building. I want to go. I really think these people should take the thing, but I can't imagine what apartment would hold 4 people and a dog.
But maybe it's a couple and their friends coming looking with them. Maybe they're going to buy the building. The four of them.
Don't say that. That's not good at all. That's not good at all. That will be terrible because then I have a friend who's currently in a situation like that where he's in a building and they're trying to get him out.
They're offering him $10,000.
Oh no,
telling him to go.
They're offering him, we won't fix your water.
Yeah.
That's what they're offering him. Like literally it's down by Wilshire where they're putting the train in. So they want this building. And they want everybody out. They want to convert it, but it's rent control. Like, he doesn't have to go anywhere. He is literally, this is my friend. He got here, I think he moved here a year after me. He's in 3 digits, his rent.
Still, that's great.
Isn't that fucking insane? And I mean, because I thought I had an amazing deal and his is like in 3 digits. And so now they're not like he has had cold water for like a week. And they go, oh, yeah, we'll get somebody. We'll figure it out. Like they're doing that thing where they won't fix stuff.
He and the other renters have to get together.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to. And then, but let me tell you something. Is there anything worse than the sentence, he and the other renters are going to have to get together? I don't want to, because you know what, because part of me thinks, well, it'll be like Fist, where they're walking down the street holding fucking axe handles. But then also part of me thinks it'll be like the meeting where fucking Pee Wee Herman had the full scale version of the mall and fucking Amazing Larry had nothing to contribute. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to get together with the freaks who live in your building for a cause. That's fucking grim. Nobody wants that shit to happen.
Sadly, it'll all end with him being offered $30,000 to move. That's what the final offer will be, because it's your rent times X to get you to go. And that's,
And but I'll be honest with you, like, that's fine. You know what I mean? Whatever the deal is.
Not really, because $30,000 is not a month, is not a year's worth of rent here.
No doubt. But I'm just saying that's the end game. But the thing is, they will try to freeze him out of the fucking building until he takes it. That's the thing that sucks. You know what I mean? If they just came to him and said, look, man, we've got this offer and we need you to go. And then, I mean, I understand that he can just say no, because that's fucking California law. But then they're not going to, then they're going to Michael Keaton your ass and they're going to Pacific Heights some roaches into your fucking house. And who knows what the fuck's going to happen. God damn it. See, that's the problem. That Matthew Modine is too much of a pussy to do anything about it. And that dude is fucking like super big. Like, he's a tall dude. One time he was bragging about his cock. I'm like, hey, Matthew Modine, all right, throttle down. You're an actor already. Nobody needs about your hog. I'm not interested in the Matthew Modine hog, clearly. But he one time he was telling a reporter or something. I don't even know how it came up, but he was something like, look at me. He was, look at my hands. Everything is size appropriate. Believe me, or something. It was like the thing Fuckhead said at the debate. Believe me, Trump. I don't like. It's funny. This sounds
it's a good
dumb.
Trump day.
Yeah, is it though? I hope so. By the way, we're recording this literally just a half hour ago, just before we wound up opening up the microphones. Our good friend, the honorable former president of the United States, Donald John Trump, was found guilty. No, all right, let's talk about it. I don't think he was found guilty of anything. He lost a civil suit, right?
He lost a civil suit and she won.
Yeah, so he's not going in the clink. There's no jail.
No, there's no criminal. There's no criminal. He was not found guilty or innocent. He was found liable.
Yeah.
For sexual assault and defamation of character.
And
sexual battery. Sexual battery.
You can't spell liable without labia. So obviously, clearly, this is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's right.
Jesus.
See, I should be at the New York Times writing these headlines. I should be fucking doing this. That would let people understand it more. They'd be like, liable. I don't even know what that means. Oh, here's what it means. Move a couple of letters around. Oh, I get it.
5 million.
Yeah.
5 fucking million.
Yeah. It means he just blasted his presidential seal right into her hair in a fucking dressing room somewhere.
Well, I don't really like rape described that way, but okay.
Look, I don't know how you want me to describe it. I'm trying to jazz up this headline so people will buy the paper.
We don't need to jazz up rape.
Right? We do. Because you come at people with something like...
It doesn't need PR. There's enough of it out there.
Well, I'll be honest with you. If there's a story that says the former president of the United States sexually assaulted a woman, usually it doesn't need jazzing up. Usually that grabs the public and doesn't let them go. Unfortunately, I don't know if you've seen the public lately. They ho-hum the shit out of everything. So we got to jet it up. We got to, he pulled out his presidential fucking seal and fucking blasted it in her hair. There you go. Done.
No.
Well, she won, though. We can all say that.
He wasn't even president at the time. He was just a creepy old dude at that point.
You say that, but I guarantee you in his brain, he was president at the time. He was like, hey, I'm the president of this place. Everywhere he walked into, he thought he was the president. He just finally got one election to finally confirm it. But everywhere he fucking went, he thought he was, because again, we've talked about it before. He's just the empty suit of your dreams. And I mean, I just don't fucking understand it. But I will say this, it is going to, like you said, it's being spun and described in all these different ways. And I love the people who are these are the people I enjoy. People are like, ha, finally, take that, sir. You're finally taught a lesson and shown what real justice is like. And then there's another segment of people who are like, let's keep loading our guns because obviously we're going to need them. If they can come after him, they can come after us. Like it's activated this whole new sleeper cell of jagoffs. And it's just gonna turn into a fucking.
That is perfect.
It's true. It's just gonna turn into a fucking rangamadang. All of them. Because again, we just saw again in Texas this fucking you talk about spinning shit, man. Fucking in Texas, terrible thing happened in Texas. We know this. You guys know this was a massive shooting in Texas. And by the way, I keep seeing video. Like I saw the video of the shootings. Like I saw all of that. I saw the kind of the washed version, which was just him shooting in the parking lot. And then I saw the unfortunate versions, which is other people who filmed and terrible things are there. And then I saw, did you see the guy in the SUV who drove his fucking car into 20 people at a bus stop?
No.
What the fuck, man? And then they're trying to get him to say, like, because it was people, it was migrants, I guess. So like they're wondering if he did that on purpose, like he drove into him. But then also he's Hispanic and he's also just a notorious drunk. So he may have just been fucking loaded and he drove into people and no one knows. But the point is it doesn't matter because you could prove anything. You could say he could literally have a recording going, look at those people at the bus stop. I can't wait to run them over and send them back to their country. Like he could say anything stupid like that. And oh my God, Mexican roadkill, let's go. I mean, he could have said any of those things and people would still say, well, he didn't. No, you don't understand what he meant. You don't understand what was said. Because again, people are spinning the fucking Texas shooter. The fucking Texas shooter. I saw a video of him dead on the ground. Like literally with the AR-15 next to him and blood coming out of his head. And I saw the patch on his vest. And I went, oh, that's not good. Because he had an RWDS patch, which stands for Right Wing Death Squad. And I was like, because again, then they released his name is like Garcia or Lopez or Marquez or whatever the fuck. And everybody's like, oh, well, he's a Hispanic guy. I mean, obviously this wasn't anything to do with that. And then someone finds his online profile. And this is, it sounds, look, this is the kind of shit that someone would put in a movie to make the most comically ridiculous enemy bad guy in the world. His avatar on this, because they found his manifesto, they had to find it on some Russian news site or something. And his avatar is a smiley face Hitler. It's one of the yellow smiley face, but with the Hitler mustache and the Hitler haircut. Fabulous. And when I saw it, I was like, this can't be real. Like I in my brain, I'm like, there's no way this is fucking real. It just can't be. But then they found a ton of other shit that he wrote where like he had a meme of Latino kids to go to the left would be act black, to go to the right would be join white supremacists. And he wrote, I'll take my chances with the white supremacists. And then they had a picture of his vest, and then he had recon photos of the mall from like a month ago. Then he had a fucking SS tattoo on his arm and a swastika above his heart, like a big fucking swastika. And I'm just like, and so I'm looking at that shit, right? And look, I don't want to say that I'm a biased gentleman, but when I see this evidence in toto, I form an opinion of this guy. I decide, you know what? It seems to me that perhaps this guy is a right-leaning gentleman. Perhaps this guy has found some path toward Nazism in his life and thought it was a cure, and it taught him to hate and other people and all of these other things. And maybe that's why. Well, but here's, I don't know if you've heard. Did you hear some of the spins that I'm hearing? No. First of all of this online stuff they found, psyops, created by the government after the fact. It's too neat. It's too pat. Can you explain why it wasn't on Facebook or Twitter, or why they had to find it on some Russian news server? Because it was planted there by the U.S. government to make him look bad. And so they've explained that they always spin this shit with that, but then they never get right to the brink, and they never deal with the swastika and the SS. You know what I mean? They're like, what they'll say about it is they'll say, well, the U.S. government brainwashed him that would be the best way to get attention. Like the pretzels they twist themselves in to defend these fucking guys, and it's just fucking embarrassing. We talked last week about how Nazis they used to be it was bad. You were bad. Nazis were bad guys. The end. But now they find every circuitous fucking finger pointing bullshit, somersault, look over here. Oh my God, a flash grenade. Oh, is that really a swastika, or is it really 4 sevens? Did he just like the number 7? It's lucky. You know what I mean? Well, that's right from a Lenny Bruce bit. I'm not going to fucking cop to it.
Oh, fuck.
Lenny Bruce bit has an entertainment agent making Hitler over. I love your symbol. I love it. The 4 sevens. It's great. And and his name's Schickelgruber, and they're like, no, we got to change it. And he goes, what about you got to hit some people with it? You got to hit like Hitler. Oh my God. He goes, it's perfect. 5 and 6 for the marquee. It's a fucking great bit. It's so great. Because and I love it so much. But anyway, so that's they find ways to just explain away all of this garbage, and so they'll find a way and I'm talking about nothing, and I don't really have opinions, because again, you can't really have an opinion on this. Your opinion is either Nazis are bad and fuck this guy, and I'm glad he's dead, but you don't understand the thing he went through. You know what I mean? Everybody's got they put on their fucking graduation hat with a pointer, and they've got a fucking, like that thing from, It's Always Sunny with the strings on the pins, and they're explaining the conspiracy theory behind why this guy was this way. It's like, maybe just because he's been told to hate black people his whole fucking life. Maybe that's why. And what the fuck, man? You don't need to bend yourself over and shove your own head up your own ass to fucking explain this shit. Although I guess it helps. That's that's the view you want. Go ahead and take it. Because if that's what you do, then everything you see is going to be shit anyway. So what the fuck?
Yeah, we started so early. I haven't seen what all of the Trump apologists have been saying. I look forward to seeing what Lindsey Graham and the rest of them come out and say about this conviction, or this not conviction, but this.
I will tell you this, the one that I saw, because I haven't seen any of that either, the individual people, but the one that I saw is Fox News, and in their reporting, because it's not nighttime yet, so we're not into the opinion shows. But on the news show, they were talking to somebody about it, and he said, this doesn't seem like something that was just tossed off. This seems like something that they carefully considered, and then they came to a resolution based on the evidence involved. So it's going to be very difficult for the ex-president to blah, 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 blah. And so they dealt with it like it was real.
But how the RNC doesn't at this point simply say, we will not back you, period. I do not understand. Let him go start his own party if he wants to start his own party. But the RNC is now complicit in everything. And it's...
Well, CNN...
Gay politics.
CNN is giving him a town hall.
I saw, and it's appalling.
It's what was ridiculous even before this.
Yeah.
But part of me is like, part of me doesn't want them to cancel it now. Now I'm like, all right, well then you literally spend the entire town hall, ask him about his rape. You know what I mean? If you're going to do this, but I know they won't because they
want to appear fair and impartial, but you can't be fair and impartial when someone is eating your face.
But I also don't think,
that's the part that drives me crazy
we've talked about it before. I mean, but also I don't think CNN is that invested in appearing fair and impartial anymore.
Well, they aren't anymore. They got sold, and they don't give a fuck at all anymore.
Well, they want ratings. Everybody wants ratings. And also, quite frankly, everybody should be fair and impartial. Nobody is. I mean, even MSNBC can pretend that they are. Nobody is. They all plant their flag and do their thing. There are people you can take chunks of news from and go, okay, I get that, I get this, I understand that.
There will always be bias, but they have full-on prejudice, and there's a difference.
Well, Fox has full-on prejudice. CNN, I don't think they have full-on prejudice.
CNN is getting there. CNN is converting completely over to right-wing. It is slowly happening.
They're just ruthless for ratings. The way it looks to me now, it's just this naked ratings grab, and once they land that, then they can start kind of converting to whatever they want to be. I don't even fuck. And you know what? This is why I wound up I subscribe to the Washington Post. I subscribe to the LA Times. I subscribe to the New York Times. So I'll read those. And I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not. I've been talking about my friends with it about comedy. Like, I think not reading the newspaper has hurt me as a comic, because I'm talking about getting back into being a comedian, whatever the fuck. And Twitter has essentially become my news source. And when I say that, I don't mean the people saying things. I mean, like, links to publications. Like,
you aggregate your news that way. It was a news aggregator, and it was wonderful for that for a while.
Absolutely. And that's where I would wind up getting stuff. But I mean, in the old days, I would read 4 newspapers a day. And sometimes I would find a story on page A11, or sometimes a story on page C3 that you don't normally see. And it would lead me, it would spur me to want to write about it. It would make me write bits or make me write jokes. And I don't do that anymore. I mean, and again, I've kind of gotten away from talking about topical stuff because, as the last 10 minutes will tell you, I apparently don't have a voice for it anymore. It's a lot of fucking, hey, yes. I just sounded, because I'm so exhausted by everything that goes on, because I don't think anyone, like, even today, this dude has been found liable for this. He will never pay that woman a dime. He will never, if anything, it might hurt him running again. You know what I mean? And it might embolden fucking DeSantis or whatever the fuck, but he's never going to pay this chick. I mean, he's not. And there's literally like landscapers who are like, hey, you got to get in line. Because I mean, we've been sending him letters fucking forever.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing in his name. It's all in the trust and the this and the that and the corporation and that's part of why capitalism needs to die.
And if he was even honest about it or forced to pay, well, he could raise it in a day from selling, a lock of his hair on emails. You know what I mean? That's gross. He's got
just so gross. And that's all Russian money. I mean, you can't tell me that there's enough dumb Americans buying NTFs in Iowa. That has to be Russian laundering money. It has to be money laundering.
Perhaps there's a portion of it, but you seriously underestimate Iowa.
I was born in Iowa.
Yeah. Okay. Well, those people, you know what? Some of those people go to the jar and think we got to help our guy.
There's a lot of trash in Iowa. I'm not going to lie, and I don't care. Some of them are my cousins.
Could be anywhere. But I'm saying anywhere. There's California. Half of California is buying it. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It doesn't have to just be Iowa. It doesn't have to be. That's what I mean. It's like and when I talk about there's no black and white, there's always gray. It's like we talk about the South. Well, there's a ton of fucking people in Texas who hate Governor Abbott, who hate Trump, who are like, fuck, we don't want this. But it's been gerrymandered into a way where they have to fucking deal with it that way. Same thing with Florida. There's a bunch of people like, we like Disney. What the fuck? Leave us alone. Who cares about drag queens? But unfortunately, the ones who get is a guy on a speedboat with a harpoon gun who shoots fucking Trixie Mattel in the ass. You know what I mean? It's all those fucking people.
I keep saying I hate that Governor DeSantis has made me think Disney is the hero of this story. They are horrible as a corporation, and I am rooting for them because he is horrible as a human being.
He's a terrible guy. I mean, but they're all terrible guys. Everybody, even because look, everybody keeps. My favorite is when people are pitching like Biden and Trump as it's a showdown. They're going to come back for a rematch for round 2, and it's like, that's fantastic. So, the very fact that the Democrats have decided to run this drooling carrot cake for another fucking 4 years is like, all right, good for you. I voted for him the last time because, again, I would have voted for a literal drooling carrot cake over the fuck deck.
Yeah, I'll take the carrot cake over the Nazi any day.
Yeah. And I mean, he came out yesterday, he said some bullshit Biden where he's like in favor of the writer's strike. I hope these writers get a fair settlement, blah, blah, blah. It's like, hey man, fucking 3 months ago, you were ready to throw railway workers off a cliff. Don't fucking pretend you're a pro-union guy now because you need a vote or whatever the fuck, or because it's the popular strike. It's embarrassing. All of it is embarrassing. And it's like, it's embarrassing to even care about it, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I vote when I got to vote and whatever. I read stuff to kind of try to stay updated, but I don't. Whatever.
We can't blow it up until we have something able to replace it. That's the problem.
Well, then they should find somebody who fucking, like I said, I thought Gavin Newsom was going to run for sure. Now he's got his issues and his problems and all that shit, because they all do. Everybody does.
Yeah. Everyone's
got shit on their shoe. Fucking everybody. Some people, however, are just shit. And some people are all shoe. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's tough to determine exactly which way you're going to go. But I mean, I will always vote for the because whatever the fuck, it doesn't. You can't even say blanket statements like "I'll always vote for the people who won't hurt people" because that's a fucking
I will
lie.
always vote for the lesser of all evils, and that is
Yes.
not saying that everything is bad and terrible and horrible, but it is the truth. You vote for what it is that you think you can do the most good with, because the system is what's wrong, and that's all you can do.
Am I supposed to clap? Should I clap there? No, I hear you. You're not wrong. It's just everything. And again, I'll be dead soon. That's totally fine. Like just yesterday, the Chicago Blackhawks. All right, you want to talk about nonsense? The fucking Blackhawks in hockey. Yesterday was the NHL draft lottery. Okay, and the Blackhawks tanked the whole season away. They lost games essentially on purpose. They wanted to. The players didn't. The players wanted to. They gave their best effort and did whatever they could. But the fucking team like gave all their good guys away and brought up a lot of young guys and a lot of misfits. And because in the upcoming NHL draft, there's a generation is the phrase.
There's a what?
And a generational talent.
Generational talent.
Yes, a kid who is a game changer, like a real franchise changer. And so everybody has been trying to tank to get him because you got to tank to get into the draft lottery. And then it depends on where you're at. You have certain odds to have your ping pong balls pulled out of the machine so you can get this guy in your team and whatever the fuck. And it's funny because I've only seen this dude. His name's Connor Bedard. And I've only watched him on play hockey. Okay. And he's a magician. It's ridiculous. He's just in this year in 57 games in junior, he had, I believe, 71 goals and 72 assists. It's ridiculous. He's averaging almost 3 points a game. He's playing against, he's playing in junior. He's playing against guys his age and guys or whatever. He's just crazy great. And so all year it's been, you got to get Bedard. You got to get Bedard. And like I said, I only watched him in a hockey context. So yesterday's the NHL fucking draft lottery. And they're like, well, we're going to interview Connor Bedard. And they bring him on. This kid's 17. So I'm talking to my buddy Paul and I go, dude, I've only watched him with a helmet and a stick. I didn't realize he was the fucking squeaky voice guy from The Simpsons that we were trying to fucking draft, Hey, Homer, Mr. Sir, like that guy. I mean, that's exactly what this poor kid is because his voice is changing. He's Peter Brady for fuck's sake, but he's just really great at hockey for fuck's sake. And I'm like, but I want him. We all want him. We all want him so bad. So they had the NHL draft lottery yesterday, and the Blackhawks had the third best odds to get him, and they got him. They wound up winning the draft lottery, and social media was furious about it because the other teams, there was like we leaped over the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Anaheim Ducks, and the Blue Jackets are just notoriously woeful. They've just had sorry luck their entire franchise history. They're not a big market. So the way everything is perceived now, unfortunately, and I can even remember when I was a kid when you'd be like, oh man, the refs are on the take or the refs totally favor this guy. But now, because everybody has a fucking megaphone and two thumbs, they all can let it known that they believe this is rigged. And like the league rigged it for the Blackhawks because the Blackhawks, and I'm well aware of why people hate the Blackhawks. There's a couple of reasons. One, they just had recent success. They've won 3 Stanley Cups in the last 13 years, which is really great. However, for all of you haters out there, they haven't won one in 8 years. So it's been a while. So step off. But also, and I talked about this on the show a while ago, the Blackhawks were embroiled in a sexual assault scandal.
Fuck.
And one of their players was sexually assaulted by a video guy. And they went to the general manager and he kind of fucking put it on a pile and forgot about it. And then they went to tell the coach and he's like, I'm trying to win a Stanley Cup. I don't want to fucking know any of this shit. And it came out finally, 10 years later, what had happened. And there's an unbelievable interview with the kid. He's now a man, but at the time he was, 20 maybe. I don't know how old he was. And he gives an interview on ESPN, and it is the most crushing, devastating interview you will ever see. He's so fucking broken, and he's talking about what happened. That's a terrible thing. And so he wound up reaching a settlement with the league. He reached a settlement with the Blackhawks. They wound up giving him money and all this stuff. But and then the Blackhawks have subsequently, and not because of the scandal, but because of poor performance on the ice or whatever, they've systematically fired everybody who was kind of involved in the organization at that time. All right.
Okay.
And so it's a new regime and new players and stuff. But it doesn't matter because, and the league only fined the Blackhawks $2 million.
Jesus.
They didn't penalize them. They didn't take away draft picks. They didn't do all these things. And so there's a lot of people who are furious because, again, as you know, everybody wants to, the death penalty should be given for everything. So there are people.
No.
Well, I'm just saying there are people online who are like, the Blackhawks should have been disbanded as an organization. And I'm like, all right, well, they're an original six hockey team. You're never going to disband a fucking hockey team. You can stop that shit now. But it doesn't stop people from shouting all their bullshit from the rooftops. They're like,
but if they were, would it change the behavior and the actions of all of the others if there were real consequences? And that's what I mean by that's what I mean by how do you break the system in order to fix it?
Yeah, it would not have. Someone else would do something. And look, man, this is why I say there's black and white and there's gray. Like there are NHL players or NFL players or NBA players who drunk drive or who do terrible things. And if they're not good players, they get pushed out of the league. But if they're great players, well, mistakes were made. I mean, this is society. This is who we are and what we do.
But how do we change that?
We don't. We just go until the heat death of the universe and we see what happens.
I'm rooting for COVID.
There you go. Once the comet comes, it'll clean all of this up. Clearly, the comet's going to show up. Then we won't have to worry about it anymore. As a meteor is hurling itself toward Earth, everybody can argue about whether it's a Nazi. That's totally fine. I think I saw a swastika on this meteor. Oh, thanks, Connor Bedard. Hey, sir, I think I saw a swastika on the meteor. I don't know, man. Because again, everybody twists everything into everything. There's a fucking there's a chef on the fucking Food Network. Oh, so the whole reason I brought up the hockey thing real quick is just because these people. They're so angry. There's people who are just furious that like the Blackhawks got Connor Bedard. They're like, you literally rewarded them for sexual abuse. Well, no, you didn't do that. They wound up sucking and winning the draft lottery. It happens. It's happened in the past. It'll happen again in the future. Yeah, but they should have taken all of their draft picks away and made them never play hockey again. Well, now you're just being ridiculous. You're unreasonable and foolish. That would never happen. They fined them. They should have done a lot more. Everybody lost their fucking job.
But you say they should have done a lot more, but then you also say that the people want too much.
All right. Well, even if you go this route, if they would have taken a number one draft pick away from the Hawks, it would have been last year's number one draft pick. So they still would have been in this year's lottery. They would have won and they still would have got this kid. Because this happened. Because honestly, this happened 13 years ago, and they started dealing. They dealt with it only like 4 years ago is when they started to deal with it. So if they would have stripped him of whatever or fined him, and look, the Hawks are entitled. I'm not siding, because that's another thing is whenever you say, well, look, you understand that they couldn't just fucking disband an organization. They would never do that. Then people are like, okay, pedophile lover. And you're like, okay, dummy. That's not it. But that's what people do, again, because this is social media and it's so stupid. That's how people fucking fight. Nobody has a conversation about it. And there shouldn't even be a conversation. There's no conversation about pedophiles. All right. It's because also I will tell you this. Wait, because what I've told you is bad. Wait for it to get worse.
No.
Worse. I'm sorry. It's going to be worse. The video guy then leaves the Blackhawks and gets a letter of recommendation for them. Then he gets a new job and he molests like 3 kids at a school where he gets his new job. It's a terrible thing. I'm not saying this is a good story.
No, it's not.
No, but to see people like when I see people freaking out over it.
But this is why I do think they need to do more, because if they don't, this shit continues to happen.
I don't know
the guy who wrote that recommendation letter also should be facing serious consequences.
Well, the dude is going to jail because it turns out that he molested like a ton of people all over the place. He was like Johnny Gropey Seed. You know what I mean? He was like going all over the place and grabbing everybody. Guy wasn't fucking around. It was terrible. So put him in the clink, certainly. And not unlike when you watch Slapshot, the goalie's explaining the penalty box, and he goes, you commit a crime, and then you go to the penalty box and you feel shame. Well, I guarantee you, the Blackhawks feel shame. And I don't know if you heard me when I told you this, they were fined $2 million. Also, I should mention this: when they won the draft lottery yesterday, they sold like fucking $8 million in season tickets immediately after this. So quickly that they had to put a cap on the purchasing of season tickets. They can realize exactly what the demand is going to be so they can change the fucking prices, which they're going to do. So
it's all so gross.
Everything in the world is gross. That's my
point. I hate it all.
All of us, everybody, you, me, everybody walking the streets, we are all of the ducks after the Exxon Valdez fucking dumped oil all over us, and we're covered in filth. And
exactly
there might be some kind people that want to come and scrub us, but I got news for you. If you come and you scrub me, you're going to wind up in the clink, because I'm going to get a letter of recommendation saying that you shouldn't have scrubbed me, and you're going to go to jail for touching me and my oily duck. Don't touch my oily duck.
Oh my God, your oily duck.
So my point, it's just the thing where like, this is all we do is fight. This is all the stuff we do is argue. And so there's a chef on the Food Network. Her name's Alex Guarnaschelli. And I will tell you this about Alex Guarnaschelli. She's just a pill. I'm not a fan of hers. You know what I mean? Because she's a sour person. Now she's changed a little bit recently, because I don't know why. I don't know but now she's on a new show where she's a cunt again, and it's like that's her deal. That's what she does. She's the mean person, like, oh my God, your flambe was not flammed enough. You're terrible. You're a horrible chef. Whatever the fuck. Those idiots who bounce dinner rolls off people's heads because they didn't fucking make a proper salad or whatever. So she's one of those. So she, and it's funny when you see her too. I'm just going to describe this. Look, I understand we're not supposed to care about how people look. But her head, she looks, when you see her, trust me, this is a very good description, and you're going to run with it, and you're going to look at her and you go, you know what? I know exactly what Mike was saying. Her face, her head, she looks like a jack-o'-lantern on November 18th. That's what she looks like.
Oh, that's brutal.
Because her head is collapsing in on itself. It's just like this weird, kind of melty, soft. She looks soft. Her whole thing looks soft. Her whole fucking, maybe that's why she acts so fucking hard, because her whole presentation is soft. But like her head looks like it's kind of just, you could touch it and it would crumble. So when you look at her, trust me, she looks like a fucking jack-o'-lantern on November 18th. That's exactly what she looks like.
Oof.
But I understand she's a terrific chef, and I would love to try her food. She has a restaurant called Butter in New York. I would eat there, because I think it sounds great. So I was on Reddit, and which I don't know if you know this, it's the front page of the internet. So I go on Reddit I'm in the Food Network section, and someone is talking about Alex Guarnaschelli, and they're debating about, because she's on this new show, and they're like, why is she mean again? She was nice for a while, and then some guy writes, or I don't know, guy, whatever, some screen name writes, I once I found out about her politics, I couldn't eat at her restaurant. I don't want to eat her food. And someone's like, what does that even mean? And then he's like, yeah, she's a Trump supporter. So it's like, I don't want to eat at her restaurant. It's like, I just couldn't possibly support that. And I laughed out loud, because I'm just like, I don't know how you look your children in the face, guy, and go, guys, we got to get out of here. The pork chops are racist. Like, I mean, it's a fuck. What are you doing? That everything has to boil down to that. Everything has to become this. Folks, didn't you hear? This bouillabaisse hates gays. You know what I mean? It's like, what is wrong with you, man? Because you can even just say, I don't want to eat at a restaurant. But to make it reach that pitch where you're just like, yeah, no, that's like saying you heard about somebody's favorite movie and now you don't want to eat their cereal or whatever the fuck. It's just so ridiculous that everything falls into that fucking rubric. I know you don't agree.
It falls into, I don't want to give them money to vote against me.
I guess, man, it's pork chops.
Again, no, it's the axe, or it's the tree accepting the axe because it looks like them. You can't, I don't eat at fucking Chick-fil-A. I will not do it, because I will not give them money to give money against LGBTQ.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. It isn't that the food is racist, although it might be. I don't know. I don't know if that cow liked all other cows.
See,
But,
you don't know.
but it is very much, and I am a Gen Z who's looking at millennials going, God, I wish I wasn't force-fed songs about why old men are cool. God, I wish I wasn't force-fed how I'm supposed to fit within the system and I can have it all. Man, I wish I wasn't, because again, they're just like, hey, we have no hope. And so fuck it. We're not doing this anymore. I applaud that.
Well, sure. I'm going to present a position that is not my position.
Okay.
Okay. Please know this. But it's, I guess I'll call it a devil's advocate position.
Is it a 69?
More of a 7. Because you just said, I wish we weren't force fed these songs about old men being cool, and I wish this wasn't the thing. All right. So imagine some 65-year-old person going, man, I wish I wasn't force fed these commercials with interracial couples, and I wasn't force fed these shows where with gays and drag queens.
Cannot compare you cannot compare human rights to pedophilia.
Yes, you and I say this, but what I'm telling you is, if you're some 65-year-old man in his Tommy Bahama shirt, you don't see
die,
the distinction.
old man, die. That is my attitude at this point.
Right.
I literally cannot wait for that generation to die, because I think it is the only way we're going to get change in this country.
Well, I will tell you this. They're never going to die. You do know this. We've made all sorts of medical achievements where these people are going to live to be 95, 100 years old, and they're never going to relinquish power. And I will tell you this, by the time those people do die, when they're 100, that's 30 years from now, then these Gen Z people you'll ever going to be 44, and they're going to be them again. And they're going to be like, these young kids today.
They're still going to be angry.
Not. No.
And by the way, Gen Z is in their 30s right now.
Whatever version of TikTok there is, they'll want to ban that, and they'll be scared of the Chinese, and the Middle East will still be embroiled in whatever the fuck they're going to be embroiled in, and the cycle will remain anew until the comet. As we've mentioned, once the meteor arrives, then this will straighten some shit out. I'm praying for tidal waves. I want to see it all give way. That's what Maynard would tell you. Because when you hear that song, he's just like, fuck it. He's just like, he's waiting for mom's going to fix it all soon. Mom's coming back to put back the way it ought to be. Fucking Mother Nature. And she's going to fucking wipe everything off the fucking earth.
And by the way, I don't think people should die. But what I mean by that is,
don't back off that now. Plant your feet
or die.
Stand your ground
or die. That's what I mean by that.
You think people should die? Stand your ground. Plant your heels.
I think elderly people and even younger people who refuse to recognize human rights and changes that need to be equitable within our lives, then yeah, you have no place here.
So I'm going to
because your life is built on oppression, and that's fucking wrong.
I'm going to call your opinion a Sly Stone opinion.
What does that mean?
Because you have problems with elderly people.
I'm one of them. I constantly am like, I'm an idiot. I can't believe I thought that was okay. I am constantly coming into revelations of how fucked our system is.
So I've talked about shit on this show fucking forever. Led Zeppelin fucked a chick with a shark. Not only did they fuck a chick with a shark, they wrote a book about it. And everybody's like, isn't it hilarious? They fucked a chick with a shark.
I don't think they wrote a book about that. It was one chapter
really
in it, and it was wrong.
Perhaps you didn't read the book. It was very shark centric.
What was it?
It was very much about, I think it was called, what was it called? It was called Finskill Graffiti, if I remember correctly was the name of it.
Look,
Finskill Graffiti. It was a story of a shark and a pussy.
I remember seeing Diamond Dave in an elevator with someone who I knew was not 18. And I just went, ew. I
Boy
mean,
or
that
girl?
was. Yes.
Exactly. Hey, man, rock stars have carte blanche. They got a pass. They got a season pass. The second you fucking, the second your do's rhyme with your do's, you can fuck anybody you want. That's it. That's the rules, man. Didn't you know this? Pick up a guitar. Pick up a goddamn.
It's wrong. It's
get your humbuckers in place, and you can finger anyone. If you can play fucking that's it.
Wow.
That's the way we've always done things. It's the way we've always done things. It's true. I know, but you can't. No, whatever. I don't want to.
I can, and I want change. I want actively to see change before I die.
everyone can want
which will be
change,
soon if people don't start fucking wearing masks.
but
Jesus.
retroactive change is nonsense. It's
It's
just
not
these
retroactive.
people-
I'm not saying the past has to change. I'm saying when you recognize things in the past are bad and you do nothing to change the future, yeah, no, sorry.
There's a dude on TikTok. I followed him for just a couple days, and I had to be honest with you, I bailed on him. Not because I don't like his work. What he did was fucking amazing. He does these, again, TikTok, it's always dismissed out of hand, even by me in the beginning, where I was just like, well, it's these bite-sized things, even though I liked Vine. I mean, on Vine, there was a bunch of nonsense that was really fun. And so, but now, the more I dive into TikTok, there's great stuff and stuff I'm always fascinated by people doing things that I can't do.
Yes.
And I'm not saying I couldn't do these things on TikTok. I'm saying I wouldn't have the patience for it or the knowledge to do it. And I would be so frustrated trying to make it work. I know I can't even get a camera to work to do my fucking Twitch. But like, I see these people on TikTok, this kid, you may have even seen him. He just does these, it's only him in it, but it's all these quick cuts and it's a play on how we had a coup in fucking the Philippines in 1950. And he'll play all of the characters and it's like this awesome, like techno fucking EDM music. And it'll say these words and captions about, oh, we met this guy and then Pinochet met this guy and blah, blah, blah. He's unveiling hidden history, but he's doing it in a way that people can pay attention to. And it takes 45 seconds to learn this lesson or whatever. And I watch it and I'm like, this is brilliant. It's really amazing what he's doing. And at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know who this is for or who's because everything is so disposable, where everything goes into your eyes and pings around your brain a little bit, and then it's replaced the next day by something else. I don't know if any of these things are landing. I don't know if any of this stuff that, because again, think back to the Me Too rallies and the pink hats and stuff like that. What did that wind up doing in the long run? I hope it exposed some people and changed some minds. But did it?
It did.
Will it?
There were some major changes. The problem is you have to keep pushing because we stepped 4 steps forward and then they took abortion away. Because we weren't fighting about abortion.
You know what? You shouldn't go out walking around with your abortion on you. This is exactly what I've been saying. You should leave it in your house in a safe somewhere. Don't, if you're out there, because again, if you're going to get robbed, they're going to take everything, including your abortion. So go ahead and leave that at the house. You'll never have to worry about it. You hate me so much.
I don't hate you. I know that it's all fun, but at the same time, everything is too fun sometimes when it does need to be serious at times.
Well, I do feel that way to a certain extent because I talked about it. I think I talked about it last week, possibly, or I talked about it to somebody. These moments when you see things. I'm trying to remember. I got to remember. There was one thing I saw. It was something on Twitter. I forget what it was. It was a news story. Oh, it was. I talked about it last week. I apologize. I don't want to rehash. You weren't here for it. But there was a Russian secret police officer. And he had bodies behind him stacked, and he was detailing that the Russian army had not given him enough ammo. And he was thinking Wagner is the name of the organization or something. It's like a fucking, it's a group of fucking terrorists doing the dirty work. And he went public with a video and he's just like in Russian, he's yelling. And I guess what he was saying was that Russia was not supporting him and sending him ammo. So maybe we'll just fucking leave this war. Maybe me and my troops will fucking bail because I got dead men behind me and whatever. And that was on, I found it like in my first moment, I was like, my initial thought is to make fun of it. You know what I mean? My initial thought now when I see things like that, because you're looking for content, let's bust this out. What can I say? What's the quip? But then I have that take a breath and go, this is fucking horrifying. There's fucking bodies. It's about a real war. It's this thing where in my brain I go, I don't think there's anything funny about this situation. But then I click on it and all the responses underneath are, okay, Gollum. Okay, because the guy was bald and he looked weird. And everybody was a joke. Every single one was like some joke about him being bald or the Gollum or whatever, fucked around and found out all these like things. And I'm just like, is this who we are now? I mean, it is. I mean, I know it is. That's exactly who we are because nobody wants to deal with anything at face fucking value because again, maybe you'll lose your fucking mind, but everything can't be fodder for fucking hilarity. It shouldn't be. It's exhausting that it is.
Here's something that I made a revelation about. I loved The Daily Show because The Daily Show said, we're not news and we are making fun of all of this horrific stuff, but also bringing your attention to it. And everybody went, that's a great concept. And then they started making 13-second videos about the Holocaust and thinking that they were doing what the Daily Show did.
Yeah.
And that's where when you're wandering through TikTok and you're wandering through and all of a sudden you see something and you're like, the context of this is horrific. And I get the point. And it was funny, but at the same time, then you have to go through 45 comments of die, you trans piece of shit. And you just literally go, oh my God. There's a person on TikTok that I follow who was born female, has given birth and has transitioned to male, but has not had bottom surgery yet. And their point was, when I walk into the ladies' room with a full beard and the chest abs that I have, you're not going to want me there with your daughter. But you've passed a law that I have to use the ladies' room because I don't have a penis. And literally every post underneath it is, yeah, you're not really a man. You're not really a woman. You're just a man that wants to be around girls, and I'll fucking kill you if I see you. And it's like death threat after death threat of someone simply saying, my lived experience is you've made it so I can't pee in public anywhere. And that is the internet. It is everybody picking on and beating and finding fodder and thinking it's hilarious. The WHO just said that, hopefully, it is with great hope that I say the pandemic is over. The pandemic is not over. The health crisis is not over. 1,000 people are still dying a day. And people ask me why I'm wearing a mask when I'm in public. Don't you know it's over? And I'm like, it's not over for me.
Clearly, your first mistake was trusting a rock band to go ahead and rule anything about the pandemic. Because honestly,
but again,
I don't know. I don't know why you're asking Pete Townsend anything about medicine.
I didn't mean to go on a rant here, but it is one of those where TikTok is, haha, isn't it all great? I made a mug that said, die Nazis. And then it's like, hey, here's people actually killing people. Then it's like, here's a drunk driver. Then it's like, I made tea. You just go, it is overload. Society is overload right now.
Well, but it can't, and it won't go backwards. It's not like, and that's the thing is there's a whole group of people who want to take you back to reading books around a fire. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like women know their place. They make a dinner and everybody reads a book around the fire and goes to bed at 7:00 PM. You know what I mean? There's those people. And it's just, because they see everything get away from them at breakneck fucking speed. You know what I mean? They see it changing and it changing rapidly. And the reason they see it changing rapidly is because there's so many outlets that you can view it changing rapidly now. In the old days, it was ABC, NBC, CBS. And you know who upset the apple cart on that? Fox. I blame them even for the origin of this entire thing. If they would have just left us with ABC, CBS, NBC, and fucking PBS, we'd be fine. But then Fox comes along with their snotty Bart Simpson, changing everybody in the whole generation. I don't like it.
People have claimed
should have stayed with NBC and the Cosby Show. That was wholesome. That was something that people can go ahead and follow their lives, and he was a good role model, and you could go ahead and understand.
I'm fine. Because Roseanne was that way too, but she didn't actually like roofie people. But hers was another show where it was like they showed dysfunction as joyful, and in a way it kind of is when there is no ability to have normal. I don't know.
Well, her show was not a show I watched. I found her to be unpleasant. I've heard the show was a fantastic look at the way real families lived. And that's what I always heard. But for me, I didn't find Roseanne to be an appealing presence, so I never watched the show, as much as I like John Goodman and Laurie Metcalf.
I felt like it showed the world the reality, but it made dysfunction celebrity in a way.
Well, all right. There's a larger picture to that as well. Like people learned therapy speak. And I actually just saw someone saying they were wondering if therapy speak is helping hasten our eventual societal demise. Because now everybody has the tools to brand someone a narcissist or to brand. And I see this all the time where if someone disagrees with someone, like I said, Nazi used to be this incredibly That was the hammer you dropped when you truly believed it, and it was a terrible thing.
Yeah.
But narcissism is something that people now bandy about all the time as if everybody is this. And also another term, like autistic and neurodivergent. And those are true things, and they apply to people who've been diagnosed, and I understand that. But there are people who hide behind them and use them as a weapon to act like fucking jagoffs. And then when they do it, they'll go, well, I'm autistic. I don't know how to participate in the discourse. So I'm sorry I called your daughter a cunt.
Yeah, that's not autistic.
You got to give me a break because I'm neurodivergent. I just discovered it. You know what I mean? It's just this thing where everyone now has, there are so many different hooks to hang your coat on that everybody now, nobody has to fucking take responsibility for being a good person, because they can always have a crutch, or they can always blame the other person who's wronged them and say, oh, you're this, you're that. And they all, like I said, they all have the therapy speak to back them up. So I wonder if the self-help, I don't want to say bullshit, but all of the self-help that came flying. Like my friend had a book on his coffee table, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And I understand that that's the trend now, to put fuck in the title of a book, and it's like cute. And I said, you reading this? He's like, I'm not. He goes, my girl is. And he goes, I'm so self-helped out now. I got no fucking interest in that kind of shit. And I'm like, I agreed. But it's given these people it's weaponized people with these marching orders of therapy speak and self-help, to where they can accuse people of being something they're not.
Self-help doesn't accuse other people, so they've already missed the whole point.
But that's what I mean.
Self-help is about looking inward and changing yourself, not telling other people. That's still just being a judgmental cunt.
Yes, but if you give a gorilla a hammer, he's going to hit another gorilla in the fucking head with it.
Well,
you know what I mean? So
yes,
you can't, without nuance, without teachings, without this, when you just start handing these undeveloped psyches, or these people who are already leaning toward being bad people, you weaponize them as they've weaponized free speech to a certain extent, where it used to be this thing where that was politically correct. You remember we saw Zappa and these people testify in front of the PMRC defending music, and now 35 years later, or whatever the fuck it is, we're being told that Joe Rogan has to ask Spotify for permission to say the things he says on his podcast. It's like, whoa, what the fuck? How do we get here from there?
Well, because music in and of itself does not lead to X, Y, and Z. Self-help in and of itself does not lead to X, Y, and Z. And so there is with free speech comes great responsibility.
Well, I would posit that anything said by someone you don't agree with doesn't necessarily lead to X, Y, and Z.
Well, it depends on what they're saying, though. The content and the context is what is always important in these things.
Sure. I agree with that.
And we often make heroes of bullies because we feel we don't have enough power.
That can be a true thing.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say, but there are also people who won't make heroes of bullies because they can see through it and they understand. You know what I mean? It's like it should be left up to the interpretation of the person. You can't, just like you can't blame.
Go ahead.
You can't blame Judas Priest for kids killing themselves because they thought they heard something in a song. And I don't think you can blame Joe Rogan for thousands of meatheads who are fucking ready and willing to take anyone's word that the dumb shit they believe is true.
But the difference is, if I hear something and kill myself, it is an isolated situation. If you tell me that all Black people are terrible and you convince me of that and I start killing Black people, that's definitely on you. And that is the difference between free speech and responsibility. Jethro Tull didn't make music that's like, go out and kill yourself, go out and kill yourself, go out and kill yourself.
Speak for
if
yourself.
Someone interpreted what they said, do you see that difference? That difference
of course.
Is
yes, but you can't. And again, this gets to my theory of there's no black, there's no white, there's gray, because I can't. I kill the messenger, all of those things. You can't yell fire in a theater. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But as a comedian, broadcaster, I find it to be, I would not want to be held responsible for what my audience did because of something I said.
Well, then you shouldn't be a podcaster.
I disagree with that completely. Again, I don't.
Anytime my intent and impact hurts someone else, I take responsibility for that.
But again, now we're going to a gray area because my intent and impact is never to hurt anybody else. I don't want to hurt anyone.
I know it's not, but that doesn't mean it doesn't do it. I mean, you've told stories in the past and said names, and if those people hear that, it will break their heart. And that is frankly on your shoulders because you chose to tell the story. And if they weren't the bad guy in the story, but you just made fun of them for the sake of making fun of them, that falls on you for the hurt.
And I own that.
Yeah,
I'm still again, pretty reckless sometimes with how I speak.
But again, I'm saying I don't think you intentionally go out to hurt anybody.
And I don't think Joe Rogan intentionally goes out to hurt anybody.
I think Joe Rogan is a fucking male chauvinist pig that would just as soon not lose his privilege than anything else. And he pretends he's a man of the people and he's not.
Well, I think he's a dude who gets high and talks a lot of smack and says dumb things. And I think he's a meathead, and I don't think he's as smart as. I don't even think he thinks he's smart. I think he's not as smart because when someone comes and they say something like, "Well, I heard on Joe Rogan this," and it's like you want to just go, "Dude, that guy is he made his bones on feeding people antelope cock and emceeing fights."
Yes,
but that's on the person. It's not on Joe.
Stop giving stupid men microphones.
Well, then, good night.
I don't think you're stupid.
I'm not. I don't think I am either.
I think
but
he
someone out there does, and will say, then, you know what, you're done.
I believe that there is no purpose of his show other than to make men feel good about themselves.
I disagree. I think his show exists because it's another cog, another spoke in the entertainment wheel.
We disagree.
Yeah, exactly. The Joe Rogan podcast is the same as Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, is the same as Meet the Press.
No,
it's the same as a hockey
No,
game.
it's not.
It is. It's entertainment to be consumed by the masses for people. And what people do with that once they consume it, that's the issue. Whatever they choose to do afterwards. Again, we talk about this dude who shot people up in Texas. He probably, because he consumed Tim Pool. Tim Pool is a fucking right-wing podcaster, and he's a YouTube guy. I think Tim Pool should be thrown off a fucking cliff. I don't think he said a worthwhile thing in his entire fucking life. But I don't think you can put Tim Pool in jail because this ass fuck shot up a mall in Texas. You can definitely come to him and go, "Hey, dude, you bearing responsibility for this? How do you feel about?"
So, do you think Trump is responsible for the people doing the things that they do?
No, I don't.
Because there's going to be a racketeering and RICO and conspiracy and all of that coming from him saying,
throw that fucking
stand up and stand back and stand down, or whatever it was he said.
Right. All of that shit. Good. I hope so. And but we're also throwing them in jail. They're all the, like, they just found Proud Boys and people like that.
Yeah.
Good. What they did was fucking completely wrong. And he should be in jail for encouraging it. I don't fight against that at all. Like, it's this will happen sometimes. You're not doing it, but I'm saying it happens sometimes when someone will talk about Trump today with the sexual assault, and I guarantee you, someone out there is like, "Oh, how would you feel if Bill Clinton, if they reinvestigated him or whatever?"
I've seen that 19 times.
Yeah, and so you just go, "I don't give a fuck. Put him in jail too." I mean, like you always think you're winning something by bringing up. Politics is not sports to me. This shit isn't sports to me. If somebody does something fucked, put him in jail. That's it. That's just the way it goes. And like, again, with the Hunter Biden bullshit now, because they're talking about investigating this. And hey, look, if you find somehow that Joe Biden was involved in that, take him down at the fucking knees, please. I want you to, just so we can get a fucking president whose eyes don't point different directions. You know what I mean? It's like, that would be fine with me. I seriously, I don't know who to look. And fine, if you want to keep Alzheimer in fucking office next time around, that's totally fine. I don't know why you're running him. Good for you. I can't believe your bench is that weak that you can't find a different guy. But whatever the fuck, that's neither here nor there. It's just, it's frustrating because you know what? I want Democrats to be great. I always say I want to be great. I want Democrats to live up to the ideals we have for them. I wish they weren't part of the machine. I wish there wasn't all this bullshit. I wish they wouldn't constantly look ineffectual when Joe Manchin or Kristen Sinema is like, "Well, I can't vote with you guys." And they're like, "Oh no." And they all make the Macaulay Culkin face, and then we're fucked because they can't drop any fucking hammers on people. You know what I mean? It's like, they don't, because we're so used to the other side grabbing people by the lapels and dunking their heads underwater, and we're just like, please don't do that, please don't do that, sir. You know, everybody's fucking, it's ineffective and ineffectual. And I understand both parties are the same. I understand that to a certain extent.
The system is the same,
which is why I said to a certain extent, because Republicans actively want to hurt people. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Republicans actively want to hurt. They want to hurt people and destroy identities. They want to destroy people for being who they are. And it's no better than what the Taliban did. And people always point to them. I always hear these people all the time, well, so in Saudi Arabia, go to Saudi Arabia where a woman can't read or fucking drive a car. And it's like, we're getting there. We're fucking getting there, man. Give it 2 years.
It's scary.
They're coming for no fault divorce. And the fucking second they do that, who knows what the fuck is going to happen? Get your red shawl and your white habit together, because that's, you're going to have to walk around it. It's fucking pathetic. Yeah. So when I say they're the same, please know I understand the distinction.
The system is,
yes, and it's rotten and corrupted, and I know, and I've banned that word from the airwaves, and it is, but it's I see a lot of gray. I don't know how it gets fixed, and should it be fixed? Of course it should. But when we get into the we don't agree on the censorship thing, like you said, I don't want to put would you hold a performer responsible for what their audience does?
If they were actively motivating their audience to do those things, absolutely.
I see. Okay.
I mean, there's somebody that just started a TikTok called Be Gay Evil Crimes. Gay something evil crimes. I can't remember. And he's like, you know what we need to do? We need to all go out and join the NRA right now, because if enough of us infiltrate it, we can turn it into a leftist, blah, 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 blah. And people in the comments are like, that's a really funny idea. But the reality is you don't really vote in the NRA. There will never be enough of us to force a vote to get John, oh God, I forgot his name, to get him out. And so really all we'd be doing is funding guns at this point. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But then he had this other idea where he was like, we should all go do this. And I'm like, that's fucking hysterical. And we should. But at the same time, if people started doing what he said to do, there would be like real crimes being committed. And that's not cool. Yeah. This isn't civil disobedience or just like, haha, isn't that silly? I made it not say, McDonald's anymore. And it says, McFuckles or whatever, it's no longer a silly crime. It's like a real crime.
Well, I'll tell you, I will say this. I think that the very fact that so many people have so many social media outlets to project these ideas prevents these ideas from being implemented. Because if there wasn't a TikTok, maybe someone would form a Project Mayhem. You know what I mean? Maybe if there wasn't a YouTube or a Twitch or something like that where you could sit on your ass
but isn't
and
that
talk
what
about,
Anonymous
wouldn't it be
is?
funny? But what are they doing besides putting out a press release every 3 months?
Did you not see all of the stuff that they released about Marjorie Taylor Greene and all of her texts and all of her? The problem is no one cares.
Perhaps you don't understand what anonymous means. So I didn't see it. I didn't see it because it's anonymous.
You're funny.
Again, yes, I'm sure some people are fomenting.
Die.
Yes, some people are fomenting some sort of discord. Some people are doing what they can, churning underneath the scenes. But what I'm saying is, because all right, I will say this. And attention, FBI, don't get mad. I couldn't understand. I don't understand. Especially in our Rebecca Schaefer opening her door and getting blasted, or Selena getting killed by her maid or whatever the fuck. I don't know how somebody didn't take a shot at Trump. I have no idea how it didn't happen, because that was not even like a president getting shot at. That would have been like shooting a movement. You would have been shooting an idea. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand, just for the fame part of it. That's what I could not, because I kept waiting, because everybody used to talk about Obama, because I also can't believe nobody took a shot at Obama. That doesn't make any sense. The only reason I think nobody took a shot at Obama, because I think they would have thought it was hack. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, you know what? So many people have said that we should shoot Obama. Let's not do it, because it just seems hack at this point, right? That's a bit we can't do. But with fucking Trump, he was out there enough. Maybe it's an aiming thing, because you got to hit him low, because any bullet you shoot up high is going to ping off that weird carnival fucking mirror that a dime would bounce off of that he's got on top of his fucking head. I mean, that helmet he's made his hair into has got to be bulletproof at this fucking point. So I don't know. Perhaps it was that. I don't know what kept them from doing it. Because you would have been the most famous person in history if you would have done that.
I think they kept him away from the public that could have guns. I think that he's not dumb enough to be around people who actually have guns.
He had to get out of the car and walk into a building occasionally. That's how Reagan did it. Reagan, they caught Reagan because he was
Tell me
fucking
where
heading
he
into
was.
the limo
Tell
and
me
got
where
fucking
he was
plugged.
in the public and not completely surrounded by Secret Service.
Oh, Trump?
Yeah,
I don't know.
he fucking lives at Mar-a-Lago, and honestly, if he
name-
runs again, he's going to move the presidency down there.
I can name one spot. I know there was a dressing room at a department store that he didn't have a whole lot of security. There wasn't a whole lot of Secret Service presence at that point.
Again, plus, I don't mean to be that person, but I believe that haven't more Republicans been shot than Democrats in office? Democrats don't usually grab a gun and go kill somebody because they don't arm themselves to take over the government that way.
Well,
I mean, we're starting to.
I've said it for years. Look, I don't see party. We're all, yeah. I cut you, you cut me. We both bleed red. We're all humans here. I don't see party.
Bleed red. Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, I don't know. But it did shock me forever that nobody took a fucking poke at him. I was surprised, and but you know what? Fingers crossed.
I don't know what that means.
Attention, FBI! Don't get mad. You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40-year-old boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old boy, which, by the way, have you seen? All right, you're not on Twitter anymore. I got to tell you this because, and I apologize for dumping this in your lap. Okay. On Twitter, Dumbfuck has changed all the rules now. So, like, if you buy the check mark, you can actually do like 14,000 character posts. Like you can write full stories. Like it's fucking insane. All the shit he's taken anything that was good and fucking drowned it. It's so bad. But now they announced this today. Tucker Carlson's getting a show exclusive to Twitter.
That sounds about right.
Every night. Yeah. He'll broadcast every night on Twitter. Because what you didn't see, because you're not there, after the shooting in Texas, like Ian Miles Chong and all these people, they're the ones pushing the psyops that the government is behind the shooting in Texas and blah, blah, blah. And it's an anti-white conspiracy. And Elon Musk keeps answering these people and going, interesting. Boy, this just gets weirder. Like he's advocating it because he gins up. And look, I will say this about him. I don't, because he fancies himself a troll. He fancies himself doing all those things. So I don't know if he's merely... he's a look, we get it. He's a fucking jagoff. We know this. But like, I don't know if there are times where I think he can't be this dumb and he's doing this on purpose to appeal to dumb people, or he's just ginning up content for the site. You know what I mean? By getting people to engage with that nonsense. But the very fact that when I heard he's giving Tucker his own show, I'm just like, again, it's one of those things where you're like, well, this is a big time troll move, but also a way to show support for that community. And let me ask you this. If there were guardrails, but it seemed there were very few guardrails on Tucker over there at Fox, do you think there will be anything resembling a guardrail on fucking Twitter and the shit he's going to be able to say? Now, that's a dude, by the way. All right, so we want to open up this, we were talking about with, do you hold a broadcaster or somebody responsible for the things that they influence people to do? I think he has an agenda to try to make people do things. Like I said, I don't think Rogan does. But to me, Tucker Carlson is a guy, and again, it flies in the face of what I just said, but he is a guy who has a real Goebbels thing happening, and I think it's very obvious what he's doing. And the thing that frustrates me the most about him, like I said, he's so punchable. And when he does that thing where he does that he talks like a teenage girl half the time, where he'll be like, why is this happening? I don't understand. Like, how could they do this? When you see this happening, you think to yourself, well, clearly the Democrats want to kill babies, and we know this is true. Is it? You know what I mean? Like he does it. And that whole, I'm just asking questions, fucking bullshit. You're just like, that framework of it, at least have the fucking balls to plant your heels and stand behind it. Stand your ground. Like I said to you, to be silly, but I say it to him to be truth. Just come out, just fucking, wear the brown shirt. Fuck, who cares?
I would not doubt that this was in place before Fox fired him.
Well, wait, so you think Fox is complicit in him going there? Like it was a way to get them off his books and over there?
Yeah.
Really? So
Yeah.
Fox is in cahoots?
Look, all of these rich guys, and I don't mean to say this like a conspiracy theory, but it has been proven over and over and over that once you dig it open and you look at it, it was always two guys in a back room with a cigar and whiskey. And the public doesn't know about it until 3 years later.
The reason I thought that Fox was definitely not in cahoots and they really did get rid of him was because every time he would kind of like they fired him and then he didn't say anything. And then he kind of put out a statement, kind of a half-hearted statement. And then they released his texts. Like it was this thing where they kept cracking the whip, like going, dude, we have all of this on you. You know, we have this on you. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually start unveiling a ton of shit now, because if he's going to do this and go,
well, they can't because if they do, they will just owe more money.
Well, no, they had to pay out his contract anyway.
They're going to be sued from their stockholders to their board of directors to they will be lucky if they survive this, because the money and the content will be pulled out into another corporation before it all happens, because that's what they fucking do. And I'm not even, it's not even a conspiracy, it's a fact. Just watch how the money flows.
Well, none of them will pay. We've talked about this, like I just talked about earlier. Trump's not going to pay this fine that he has to pay today, and nobody pays. They all make it's just like this new, when I was a kid, a subpoena meant you had to show up. It just did.
Yep.
And then with the last administration, they were just like, nah.
No, thanks.
I don't think so. I don't think I'll be attending that meeting. I don't want to be deposed or whatever. And they just get away with it. And then Schumer will say stuff like, well, we really hope they'll join us and talk, like this thing with Feinstein. Jesus fucking Christ.
She needs
Dianne
to resign.
Feinstein is,
I love her.
She's
she
a brain
needs
in
to
a
resign.
jar. She's a brain in a jar. Like, and barely half a brain.
She did so much for women, and it's time for her to retire.
Yes. And it's shocking to me that they won't take the steps they need to take. They need to just go, hey man, get the fuck out. Like they need to just be ruthless. You have to be ruthless because the other side is ruthless. And they're telling Dianne Feinstein to eat her oatmeal and she won't do it. So you can't tell her she needs to resign. You need to fucking get rid of her. You need to just fucking get rid of her. It's so ridiculous.
It makes me sick because I met a person once who's like, yeah, my dad he's a congressperson, and he has Alzheimer's. He's had it for like 6 years, and his staff pretty much writes everything for him and does everything, and he just signs it off. And I'm like, why would you tell me such a horrible thing?
Yeah, I had heard.
Why would you even speak that in public?
There's stories like that about Chuck Grassley.
It's gross.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And you don't, I don't know. And again, it doesn't. But as I've said, it doesn't.
We need to wrap. We need to go back because we'll talk about this for another 2 hours.
There's a meteor coming.
I hope.
Follow me at twitter.com/40year-old boy. I'll be on the new Tucker Carlson show.
Are you going to stay on Twitter?
Commentary. Of course. I love Twitter. I got no problem with it. You know why? Because I can curate what I want to see and what I don't want to see. I don't have to see any of these jagoffs. I can fucking just because look, anytime like a blue check comes in and starts and acting the fool, you just block them. Just get rid of them. Yeah. I think my block list is probably in the thousands now. Because here's the thing too. I'm not even blocking political people half the time. I'm blocking bad sports guys. You know what I mean? Who come in and yell shit and stuff like that. I'm serious. It's like, because I don't read a ton of, like with politics, there's no point in wading into the comments. There's no point in, because I know what it's going to be. It's tastes great, less filling. You know what I mean? It's going to be you libtard, you ghoul, and they're just going to shout back and forth at one another. And so what? I mean, I'm not going to change anything. And that's just the fucking way it is. Holy shit. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'll just read it and I hate that I have my phone this close to me. It's terrible. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Look at you know what? Let's pivot. Let's be a breaking news show. Let's be that from now on.
Okay.
We're moving from opinion into hard news.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, and you're going to know this because it's 2 days later you're hearing this. George Santos charged by federal prosecutors in New York. The first time Republican congressman's extensive lies on the campaign trail and questionable financial dealings were the focus of criminal and ethical inquiries. He's been charged by prosecutors. Their charges inquiries into his financial campaign activities. I don't know. But you know what I look forward to? Him dressing up in like Bugs Bunny as a girl and sneaking out of the country, because you know what happened. And they'll let him do it. Some bullshit will happen, and he'll get away with that too. And it's funny. It's like whenever you read breaking news, George Santos, the liar, has been charged. You're like, oh, so he's been reelected? That's good.
Wait,
because
where
again,
did this come from?
it just, because I get a new look. I just said that I don't read a lot of news, but I read the Post and I read the Times, and I get breaking news alerts from the New York Times and the Washington Post. And it literally
which is that
just
from?
popped
The
up.
Post or the Times?
That was from, let's see if I can pull it back up because I erased it already. That's from both the Washington Post and the New York Times. No, it's from the Washington Post.
Oh, fuck.
And also, women should start getting mammograms at 40, says a federal panel. And I say, government, get out of my bra. That's what I say to you fuckheads. What are you trying to do? If I want to walk around with fucking unexamined tits my entire life, I'll do it if I was a lady. You guys can follow me for more of those hot facts over there at twitter.com/the40year-old-boy. Like I said, I'll be on with the Tucker Carlson show. I'll be his sidekick, squeaking a horn and laughing. I want to be Tucker Carlson's Jackie the Joke Man Martling. I just want to just laugh at all of his bullshit and make a pretty penny doing it. Because you know what? I'm ready to sell out. Approach me. Anybody. Republicans, Democrats, whoever wants to go ahead and give me a sum to agree with them, I'm happy to do it. I'm on the market, goddammit. I'm 55. I got 15 years left on this planet. Let's feather my nest. I'm also on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok at Mike40YLB. And you're probably thinking, why is it different from the other names? Are you trying to hide something? Yes, I am absolutely trying to hide something. Please don't ask what it is. I'll never tell. Unless you decide to feather my nest and pay me to do so, in which case I will be as forward as you want me to be about all of the things I'm hiding. Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. That's Mike40YLB. Find me on there. And I have to do another chunk. Do you want to do plugs? You got to roll, right? I've kept you here a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got to do a whole other chunk anyway, because I got to talk about our great friend Fearful Jesuit and his wonderful show. And I'll tell you guys, and it's funny because they're hearing this after that. So me telling them what they're going to hear when they've already heard it seems counterproductive. And yet here I am doing it. I'm delving into it. All right. Don't touch my oily duck. I'll talk to you next week.
If there's anything I like more than me, it's people who like me. I love me, but if you love me, I love you. 'Cause you know why, we both love me. How great am I? Let's talk about that for a while. And by a while, I mean forever.
Hi, everybody. This is Todd Glass. What could I say that would make you want to give the Todd Glass Show a listen? Well, I guess you could poke around on YouTube, and if some of the stuff over there makes you laugh or my Netflix special act happy, then maybe you'll give it a listen. The only other thing I could do is make it short because it's interrupting a podcast you already love. Okay, I'm done. Thank you. Goodbye.